I mean, the thing that I keep wondering, and it's and this is like across the board. This is whether it's Bill, yo, this ain't Bill, yo, what's up, man? This your boy, man, brr, brr. Or it's that wheezy dude who led the cops on a big old police chase should be in prison, but he isn't for some reason. And that dude has some weirdo nipple tap, like weird. The whole thing is just weird. But it's like people don't. Whenever we see these characters were shown on TV, especially the Island Boys. First of all, the Island Boys have the Statue of Liberty hair, which should tell you something. Like, where did that fucking stupid ass style even come from? But the tattoos, man, tattoos cost a lot of fucking money. Tattoos cost a lot of money, and they're extremely painful, especially on your face. So what are all of these guys doing to afford so much artwork? Like, seriously, the Island Boys have to have, $20,000 worth of tattoos on them. And they just don't seem like the type of tough guys to sit through tattoos on their face. And interestingly, I don't know, do they have videos of them getting tattoos? Where are the videos where they got all these? Who are the tattoo artists that did all the work on those guys? Where'd they come from? Because they were already like, yeah, the Island Boys song blew up. But they were already flexing in that video. They already seemingly had, they definitely already had the work all over. So where'd that come from? How'd that work? And people just, they love to overlook things and look for so many like grandiose sort of conspiracy clues, and they love to just overlook like this simple mundane shit, the real easy stuff that should be easy to answer, instead of having to go in whatever direction. Like, let's just we don't have to go any conspiracies or anything. Let's just look at what we see. Never heard of the Island Boys. Bullshit. How have you never heard of the Island Boys at this point? Though you are a few years older than me, you're still a pretty prominent figure online. I would assume you would at least know who these fucking morons are. But it's the same thing as Tekashi 6ix9ine. You know, dude just turned himself in a little bit ago. But so I remember, I've told this story before, but I'm standing in the gas station, and it's got to be 2018 or maybe it's 19 or something. But I'm in line to pay for some shit, and I look over and I see the Source magazines right there, and it has all of the up and coming new guys, the next big things. And I remember focusing in on 6ix9ine just because he had the rainbow hair. Belge. And I thought, well, fuck, for him to look that gay and still be, considered something, gangsta. Man, he must be a great rapper. That's what I thought. He must be like extraordinary to look so gay and be so accepted. That was my thought process, and again, nothing against gay people or anything, but that was how I thought. He looked gay. He had rainbow hair. And of course, the Tom McDonalds follow the same suit. They all got tattoos all over their head. There are all these people that you wouldn't want your kids emulating, especially the look. You put that one tattoo on your face, good luck with the job situation for the rest of your life. My mom always taught me, if you're going to get tattoos, put them in places that can be covered up. You don't want them on your forearms Because when you have a job and you have to work outside, you want to be able to wear short sleeves. You know? And so I ended up looking up 6ix9ine one day after that. I didn't give it much thought. But this dude starts really blowing up. And I'm like, man, I must be missing something, because I don't even hear, like, I guess I don't listen to the radio very often. But I just, the one song that he put out that I think was the first one I sort of stumbled across was the song called Gummo. So let me read you the lyrics to Gummo, because I was shocked. Remember, I'm thinking this guy has to be something extremely special to be able to bypass, all of the checks and still be accepted. He must be a lyrical genius. Niggas iffy, Blicky got the stiffy, got the blicky, drum, it hold 50, Let me put some hot sauce on that thing real quick. Scum gang, I'll see y'all later, soo-whoop. Verse 1. Pop these niggas like a wheelie, nigga. You a silly nigga. In the hood with them Billy niggas and them Hoover niggas. You run up and they shootin' niggas. We ain't hoopin', nigga. Yo, KB, you a loser, nigga. Up that Uzi, nigga. On the stoop. Krills? Crills? I don't even know what that word is. Krills in my draws. Your girl on my phone. She wanna fuck, but I keep her clothes on. I only want the jaw. Because, a BJ is not better when your titties are out, right? I mean, this is fucking stupid. If black people can say nigga, you're a fucking moron. You're like, you're as dumb as it gets. You're the racist one. And the fact that you identified black and nigga exclusively just shows you how stupid you are. Well, I'm not shocked at all. But like, these are the clues. These are the little pieces. There was that, my lifestyle. Remember that song? Dip up a doop a dip up a do my lifestyle. That song was the shit for a minute. But if you listen to it, he talks about, we'll read the lyrics afterward. Only want the jaw. Man, that's really all I use her for. Then kick her out the door. I don't want her. You can keep the whore. She fiendin' for some more. In New York, my niggas don't milli rock. My niggas money bop. Blow a case, a nigga throwing shots. I run them off they block. $250,000 in the stash box. I grinded for my spot. Niggas talking about that cash, but my bag worth a lot. I don't fuck with no old hoes, only new hoes. We know he likes them young. Put my dick in her backbone, then I pass her to my bro. Yuck. How dudes having sex in the same room with their homeboys became such a thing. How you get that sloppy seconds and you're like, yay, my boy was just here. I pass her to my bro. I don't love her. That's a sad hoe. She a bad hoe. I'm a fucker. Then dash home to the cash hoe. Wait, he just said he wasn't going to fuck her. See, he's already like tripping on his own shit. Chorus. I'm on some rob a nigga shit. Take a nigga bitch. Do the dash in the whip. Count the cash in the whip. I pull up with my stick. Then I let that shit hit. Shout out. It's black. I don't know. It's actually edited. Shout out something. But I fuck that nigga bitch. Number 2, verse 2. Niggas iffy. Blicky got the stiffy, got the blicky, drum it hold 50, move a milli all my niggas on 50, talk down, pew pew pew, you silly, fa 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 fa. Hit a stain, 50 bands, all hundreds, spinning through your block like a pop shove it. Like a pop shove it. I don't know what that is. Shoot at me, I'm shooting back. I'm getting buckets. I ain't want to take his life, but nigga, fuck it. Oh, that's poetic. That was the second verse. The first verse was a little longer, but the second one was just that. And now we're back to the chorus, which I'm not even going to bother again. And when I saw 6ix9ine shit, when I saw his videos and yelling, and in the video, he doesn't even know the words to his own song. Like you knew you were going to do a multi-million-dollar video shoot, right? Shit, maybe it's 100,000 or something. I don't know. A lot of money in that, though. But I never saw anybody sharing 6ix9ine's videos. I never saw anybody talking about there's this new rapper 6ix9ine everybody needs to talk about. He was just there. So wait, let's look up this lifestyle song. Deep up my lifestyle. Is Rich Gang. That was his name. His name is Rich Gang. This is going to be funny. Young Thug, Rich Homie Quan, and Birdman. I'm done. Ha ha. Huh? Hey? London on the track, bitch. My lifestyle. Hey, Rich Homie. Thugger. In this motherfucker. Yee? Rich Homie. Thugger. In this motherfucker. Oh. Rich Gang. Thugger. Baby. Got like 4 ounces in a 20 ounce. Got like 4 ounces in a 20 ounce. Bitch. I'm blessed. I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm sorry. I do. I'm gonna make my hair look like the Statue of Liberty. Don't you notice that connection? That Island Boy look makes it look like the Statue of Liberty. And actually, if you look at their feminine looking faces, it fits. All right. Chorus. The song starts with I'm done. Or no, I done. Sorry. I done. See, my head's stupid. I done, hey, did a lot of shit just to live this here lifestyle. We know what he's talking about. Baby fucked him. Or and there's the two Cash Money guys. There's Slim and there's Baby. Baby's the one that's out and about. But Slim is I mean, I don't even know. You never see Slim anywhere. You never see anything about Slim. It's weird. He doesn't want any of the fame. Crazy part is, I'm probably distantly related to those guys because they're Williamses out of Louisiana. And I had a Williams great-grandfather or something like that. One of the Williams family members. It was a man that had like 50 kids. He had 50 kids, 56 kids, I think, with 3 different women. So, you know, the Williamses are there's a good chance we're related if we're out of that same area. Anyway, we came straight from the bottom to the top, my lifestyle. Nigga living like a beginner, and it's only the beginning, little nigga woo. I'm on the top of the mountain, puffing on clouds, letting niggas be still beginning. You're still beginning, little nigga. Remember how they sing? Can I barely understand it? Verse 1. This one's Young Thug. 1,000,005 on the Visa card. Woo. 100 band stack. Look like I'm some fucking Titans football player. Look like I'm some fucking Titans football player. Nigga serving great white like I'm feeding sharks. Sheesh. I won't do nothing with the bitch. She can't even get me hard. Woo. Something wrong with the pussy. What? Even though I ain't gonna hit it, I'ma still make sure that she do shit. Cause what? Me and my woody don't get caught up like that. No way, no way. We ain't got time to see doctors. Jay, hey, woo. Who said money? Money, nigga. Hop out the bed, pull up on the bitches. I'm yawning, and why? Hey, think this is a show, bitch? I'm performing. I do this shit for my daughters and all my sons, bitch. Woo. I'm gonna run them up. I'm going to run up them bands up. Take care of their funds. Bitch, are you in? I got a mom's, bitch. What? She got a mom's, bitch. She do. I got sisters and brothers to feed. Woo. I ain't going out like no idiot. I'm an OG. That sounded fucking good, didn't it? This guy, this is his big chance. Like, this is his big moment. This is his, he's going to get his name out there. He's got his song, the hook. It's all going to work. It's going to get pushed to the moon. Of course, he starts with some, stereotypical nigga shit, right? 1,000,005 on the Visa card. 100 bands stacked. Look like I'm some fucking Titans football player. Not really sure where the card and player, I guess. I don't know. Is that the rhyme? I don't know. So he talks about he has money. Then he says, I guess he's got a lot of cocaine that he's selling. He says, I got money. I got coke. And then the third line is, I won't do nothing with the bitch. She can't even get me hard. Something wrong with the pussy. Even though I ain't gonna hit it, I'ma still make sure she douches it. That way, me and my woody don't get caught up like that. No way. That's a verse of a hit song that was like one of the biggest songs of that summer. You still don't think they're all like closet homosexuals doing ritual shit? Pardon me. Do you speak jive? I speak jive. Listen here, little mama. Time gonna cut me up a cow, make it bloody red, and then run it through the garden. He says he would like a steak and a salad, please. Shit's fucking hilarious. Racist as fuck, though. I mean, really, really racist shit that was just put out there like it was. But at the same time, go watch old episodes of Good Times. Like, you see that black people consciously made an effort to speak differently. How did that start? Who decided that? Who made those rules up? We don't get to know that, but it's definitely interesting. I ain't going out like no idiot. I'm an OG. Chorus, Young Thug. I did a lot of shit just to live this here lifestyle. Living this shit right now. We came straight from the bottom to the top. My lifestyle, living lifestyle right now. Oh, nigga, living life like a beginner, and this is only the beginning. Only beginning, little nigga. I'm on the top of the mountain, puffing on clouds, and niggas still beginning. You still beginning, little nigga. So terrible. It's just so terrible. It's so terrible that they have to say it in a way that you can't really understand it. Nigga living like nigga on the beginning of my life, on the top of the cloud, popping cloud, still beginning, little nigga. Like, it's fucking stupid. Verse 2. This is Young Thug and Birdman. Young Thug. How long is that name gonna work? Like, how many guys? How come people haven't figured out? Morning, Matt. How come people haven't figured? Is it morning still? Yeah. That going with like Lil or Young. Hopefully the little thing doesn't last. I mean, it probably, if you're already known as little somebody, you're probably not going to turn into big somebody. But, you know, even Wayne doesn't go by Lil Wayne anymore. All right, verse 2. Still screaming, fuck the other side. Fuck them niggas. Fuck them niggas. I'ma ride for my nigga, i.e. Quan voice. I'ma die for my nigga, i.e. Quan voice. Ain't gonna be latching on my niggas, i.e. no way, no way. Niggas couldn't see me if they had a genie. Niggas couldn't see me if they had a genie. Woo! I'ma live my life like Beanie. R.I.P. my brother Beanie. R.I.P. He rhymed beanie with beanie. I stacked them racks to the ceiling. Now these niggas can't beat me, racks. I just might wake up. I just might wake wanting Chanel, and these bitches can't see me. I'm in a whole nother league, rich gang. I ain't got AIDS, but I swear to God, I'ma bleed. Swoop till I die, brat. 28 floors up. I feel like I could FLYEE. Oops. Pee on the top of these bitches. Oops. God told me they can never stop me, so they ain't gonna stop me. I'm in that Corvette with my baby mama, getting sloppy toppy, skirt skirt woo. I'm bleeding red like a devil. I see these bitches plotting. They want to know how I got M's, and I didn't finish college. Damn. Like, when I'm doing it, I always want the last bar of a verse, especially the song. Like, I always want the last bar of the song to relate to the first bar. But I always want to, like, as great as the bars are in between, I want the first and the last one to be like, bam, each time. I don't want it to sound like it's just like it. You know, I was in the middle of a flow and you just stopped to fit the time constraints. You know, I want it to have an impact. Each point has an impact. But this dude says, I just might wake wanting Chanel, and these bitches can't see me. I'm in a whole nother league. I ain't got AIDS, but I swear to God, I'ma bleed. Swoop till I die. 28 floors up, I feel like I could FLYEE. This moron thought that's how you spelled fly. And then after the fact, they were like, well, the verse is laid, and you're not going to be able to rewrite it, so just throw it in there. Make it sound like you did it on purpose or some shit. I'm a FLYEE. One sentence of the lyrics is enough to know it's nothing to be gained from that. Right. Well, but it's important to know that this is what is being... So when it comes to rap music, and understand that everything I'm reading to you, when you hear this stuff, you nod yes. Yup. Uh-huh. And literally we say uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's part of the hip-hop sort of culture. So as you're sitting here having, an experience on a level you don't understand because you're being hit with ELF waves that aren't broadcast as being there. And you have the drum beat that is lulling you into a state of hypnosis, especially if you're listening to like a full album or something, and it's just the same 440 hertz, just assault on your consciousness. The whole time you're singing along and you're nodding your head yes. Universally, this means yes. You can go anywhere in the world, and if somebody asks you, they present you with something and you go, they're going to think, okay, they're not going to think, oh, he doesn't want it. There's not places in the world where nodding yes means no. I might have a screen. This is what the teenagers are listening to. No, this song's from a few years back, so It's this, like I say, this is probably 2019, 2018. But you go ahead and you pick any. Like, everybody talks about how great Kendrick is. Be humble. Sit down. I don't know of anything. I guess Bad Bunny said something about Epstein or something, but that was blurred out. I didn't catch what it was, but I heard he did it. Let me like it from the beginning, bitch. It's my lifestyle. You guys remember this song? FLYEE. P on the top of these bitches. Talking about pissing on chicks. We're back to the chorus. I done did a lot of shit here to live this here lifestyle. We straight from the bottom to the top of my lifestyle. Nigga living life like a beginner. And it's only the beginning, little nigga. I'm on the top of the mountain puffing on clouds. And niggas still beginning, tell him. Third verse is Rich Homie Quan. He's the Rich Homie Quan. How did you come up with such a horrible nickname? If your nickname is 3 fucking words, that's not a very good nickname. I bet your first name is like Joe or something. And I got to sit here and be like, hey, Rich Homie Quan. Hey, Rich Homie Quan, are you hungry? Would you like some salt or pepper with that, Rich Homie Quan? Did you need some ketchup, Rich Homie Quan? Rich Homie Quan, come on, it's dinner time. Rich Homie Quan. Oh, that's my grandson. This is Rich Homie Quan. I know I've given too many examples, but Jesus Christ. Living life like it's the beginning. It's on the beginning of my lifestyle. Okay, so Matches sent Bad Bunny performed 5 songs. The first one, I mean, to me, it was horrible. I fucking couldn't stand the fucking show. I thought it was terrible. It was such a terrible fucking show.
Almighty. Back?
No.
I'm not?
No.
I just got knocked to the ground and mauled by Joe's dog. Literally, okay. I couldn't get up. He was all on me. I'm laying.
Is about his auntie asking if he has a girlfriend, and he says no, and goes on to sing about his sexual conquests and encounters. Let's take a selfie, say cheese. Hey, let the ones I already fucked smile. I mean, you know, the lyrics in songs performed at the Super Bowl have been suspect for a very long time. So can't necessarily focus on he was saying things that we don't like. Yeah, well. The second one, Yo Pero Solo, is about a woman who twerks alone, yet all the men and women want to have sex with her. She climbs on the table and doesn't give a fuck about anyone. When she twerks, she doesn't stop. She smokes and gets horny. She'll call you if she needs you, but for now, she's alone. His third song, Serafina, is about a woman with a nice ass. It's all about butts, right? There's so much focus is on where the poop comes from. Gee, I wonder who, out of like, if you put like a bunch of guys out there, and it was like, all right, this guy's a gay guy, this guy's bisexual, this guy's whatever. Who's going to be more likely to focus on the butts, you would assume? Like, to me, tits are amazing. You know, even when you get fat guys with moobs, they don't look like tits. Tits are a different thing altogether. They're not, you can't just grow tits by getting fat. There are guys that have weird ass boobs, no doubt, but you don't get tits. Tits are a different story. My dick is being chased and I want you to hide it. Grab it like a bonga. She took a pill that made her horny. She fucks in the Audi, not in the Honda. Eh? The fourth song, Monaco, most appropriate song of all of them, is about the success about his success and blowing it all on jets, sex, greed, and champagne, not paying attention to time and important things in life, drinking a lot of champagne. We're never thirsty. They're talking to themselves. They're talking to their echo. The sign of money. That's my new zodiac sign. Light up a cigar. Got my family in Monaco. His final song, performed, El Pagan, is about how fucking great Puerto Rico is and states, I like the pussy of Puerto Rico. Again, what's wrong with that? Like, there's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. And acting like, again, it's weird for me because, again, I sit here and I say, I thought it was a terrible fucking performance. I hated every aspect of it. But to be like, oh, he said he likes Puerto Rican girls. How dare he say that? That's fucking stupid. And I do have to give him credit for bringing a bunch of Puerto Rican girls out on the dance floor because the last couple times I can remember, it's been big fat ass black chicks. And I don't understand the fucking the sexual attraction to a chick that weighs a lot more than you do. Let's just put it that way. And I get that there are dudes out there that like them big. I get it, but I don't think the majority of us do. They literally got away with exposing children to these sexual and graphic concepts and content by performing it in a language they didn't understand. I feel especially awful for the Latino Hispanic community whose kids were truly exposed to this. Okay, yeah, fucking it. Like, again, this is like, that's like white people, I just can't, I can't believe that we're talking about, play all the fucking songs that were played when Eminem, when the Super Bowl was in Los Angeles, and Snoop and 50 and all those guys were there. 50 looking all fat, trying to hang upside down, looking like he was losing his blood. Like you got, you have to be a special kind of entitled.
Huh?
Can I hit that? It was a Kid Rock song. I had the name wrong. Yeah, Kid Rock. I mean, Kid Rock is as big a piece of shit as you'll ever see. Right. There's the one song he has where it's like, something about the younger the better or something like that. And
well, and then when the Olsen twins were 14 and he was in an interview, like on the Tonight Show or something, it was a big one. And he's like, I don't know why all these men are, saying they can't wait till they turn 16. I say if the grass is green or if there's grass on the field, play ball.
Right.
He's fucking sick.
The controversy is about a 2001 Kid Rock track, "Cool Daddy Cool," which features the line, young ladies, I like them underage. See, some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. The verse, performed by the late rapper Joe C. Surgic, okay.
It was in a kid's movie. A kid's movie.
I mean, you literally see that shit all the time. If you were to really fucking take into consideration like the songs that are used in movies all the time, even you could even say, they didn't use the most graphic part of the song. Yeah, but if you like the song, you're gonna go listen to it.
Right. Because of the movie. Little kids are gonna be singing the song because of the movie. They have no idea. It's programming.
The new I heard the name. I don't know. Kid Rock is terrible. I mean,
he has a couple songs I liked.
That first album.
Old school, yeah.
Not the first album, but the one that made it. That was a great album.
He's a Christian singer.
I'm just sitting here trying to find myself. I get behind myself. I need to rewind myself. Looking for the payback. Headed for the playback. Yeah. No. I mean, I liked that album when it came out. It was good. But the Ba with the Ba song, that shit was always just so dumb to me. I can't imagine. I'm like, yeah, Ba with the Ba, the bang, the bang. I'm singing along. I would feel stupid as shit.
It's just
But the intro of that song is fucking awesome. My name is King. And It builds up. Kid Rock. Okay, dude, you're like older than me. I'd do the official name change. But you guys remember when Snoop tried to change his name? Snoop was like, I'm no longer Snoop Dogg, I'm Snoop Lion.
Yeah, no.
And people were like,
no.
Okay, Snoop Dogg. So stupid.
Lion still barked it.
But all of it, like, so there's this weird duality, right? There's the teenage me that remembers when The Chronic dropped. And remembers when Doggy Style dropped. And going out and getting the tape that I put in my yellow Walkman. You know, that yellow one that didn't break as easy. But the yellow Walkman and like, I remember playing my dad, I don't remember the name of it, but when I met you last night, baby, before you opened up your gap, I had respect for you, lady. Like, if you're my age and you don't know the words to that song, you probably like dudes. I mean, it's, you know, not a knock, but I don't know anybody from my fucking time that doesn't know the words to that song. 'Cause you gave me all your pussy, and you even licked my balls. Leave your number on the cabinet, and I promise, baby, I'll give you a call. Next time I'm feeling kinda horny, you could come on over, and I'll break you off. And if you can't fuck that day, baby, just lay back and open your mouth. Good. I mean, it's just such terrible songs when you think about it. Like, if you wouldn't... I always wanted my songs to be like... to push the envelope. But at the same time, you could be like, Grandma, listen to this. This guy's fucking great. You know? I never wanted it to be like... You know, you can push the envelope without it being... vulgar and, you know, stupid. It's stupid. But that was what was... Like, that was what was only pushed on us. You know, it's because they got scared. The Jews got really scared, man. Towards the end of the 80s, like, rap's sort of immediate evolution was to go in the direction of, hey, let's talk about what the fuck is wrong. You know, let's use this as like a window into the shit that the Jewish news media system refuses to talk about. Let's talk about the police brutality. Let's talk about the crack infestation. You know, and it had gotten to the point where, you know, like the Cosby Show, and then A Different World. A Different World was huge. You think it wasn't, but it was huge. It was huge. It was a huge show. And one of the things was because not only did it spin off the Cosby Show, it like succeeded. You know, a lot of shows that come off of something that successful, they fail because the expectations are too high. And A Different World, I mean, the theme song is literally like a jab at white people. It's a different world than where you come from. Who do you think they're talking to? Who do you think they're talking to when they're talking it's a different world than where you come from? At Hillman, the all-black college. I ain't one of the Cosbys. I ain't go to Hillman. But that show succeeded because at the time, like there's
That's where what's his name went, right?
It's not a real school. The one from the show isn't real. There was this. God, I think it was an episode of A Different World. But, like, there was that one little black kid that was used, like, he was in everything. He had kind of, like, chubby cheeks. And he would always be like, my African queen. You know, remember that kid? You can see him, and, you know, when I say, he would always talk, my beautiful African queen, of course. And he wasn't, like vulgar. He was, like, ultra respectful kind of. Remember that kid? Well, it just those episodes like that where they were, that was sort of the direction it seemed like things were going. Like, black people, hey, black people, you know that you're not supposed to be Christians, right? You understand that they forced that shit on you? That there's an entire culture that's kept from you? Like, you're beautiful, you're amazing. Right, that shit was in cross colors. People wore cross colors, the ugliest clothes possible. The African dashiki shit was everywhere. Yeah, people walking around the United States in some crazy ass get it, man. This shit was crazy. Like I said, cross colors and the bright red, bright purple, yellow pants and
Browns, the browns, all of the browns.
The dance moves.
Brown and yellow and orange.
And the fucking like the women with the full spandex bodysuits on, doing like looking like they just came up from the gym.
Yeah.
Doing those dances and shit. They were like, wham, wham, like they're trying to hurt you. Slam that shit and bow. Oh, you have a pelvic bone, right? Oh, fucking crazy. And then in one fell swoop, it started with Public Enemy. And I mean, again, think about, it's hard for people that didn't live at the time to understand it. And it's really weird because it's like sort of not really talked about, but the time between 1979 and 1999.
So different. Oh my God.
Really, like no other generation, no other time span experienced so much change. Maybe like the early 19th, but the more we look into that, the more we don't know. The more we're trying to sort of figure out, man, the narrative we're given. Like when it comes to the previous time, we just have to trust everything. But from a people alive today standpoint, that little window was so huge. Especially as far as, the shift of power from the straight white Christian male. Just it's not even to anybody in particular. It's just knocking that position down a little bit. And that was something that was such a powerful position forever. Like, to think about it now, to think that waitresses used to have to deal with random dudes just slapping them on the ass while they were trying to work. And that was just supposedly like an acceptable thing. Like, it's so far-fetched to us now.
Your tip's better, doesn't it, sweetheart? All right, then. Shut up and give him his beer.
It's a strange fucking shit. But in that one fell swoop, it went from that, like, it starts with Public Enemy for sure, and Public Enemy was, scary, militant black guys who were the public enemy, and Chuck D's lyrics were not meant to be, taken by what, like, they were the scary black guys. They were militant. They used to have their guys walking behind them acting like they were in some sort of militia.
Yeah, I remember thinking that is really not the image.
It's divisive as fuck. As fuck.
Exactly.
But that it still didn't have, like, Public Enemy is much more, and of course you have, to balance it out, you have to have your Flava Flav thrown in there. Now, Flava Flav is a fucking genius musically. Don't get that twisted. He can play like anything. But you gotta have the silly top hat character, the clock, all these symbols, and he doesn't apparently do anything but act like a fucking crackhead moron. And he looks like a crackhead.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We should give him a show with Brigitte Nelson and Niels and make that'll be a flavor of love. Yeah, that sounds good. But, Public Enemy was like walked up to the line, but they were safe because you had Flava Flav to balance it out, because they didn't have they just didn't have the crossover appeal that on 8/8/88, when niggas with attitude dropped their self-titled album, Straight Outta Compton. They dropped this album on 8/8/88. I'm sure that was just a coincidence. You literally, like, it literally wiped out all of the positive black, cross colors, know your history, Africa, this, that, and the other. And instead it was like, yeah, fuck all that shit. Fuck the police. It was so abrasive, and it was so, it's like we almost thought we were watching something that we weren't supposed to, not realizing that you come home from school at 4 o'clock and Yo MTV Raps has an entire episode dedicated to these fuckers riding around with high power machine guns through LA like it's nothing. Turn off the ties. Maybe I was born in the States for a reason. I've always been treated different. Situation based on communication and anything. Born in 1999, man. It's different. I mean, you as much as I would love to know what that was like, I can't know what it was like. I think my generation had that 60s revival sort of thing. But at the same time, it wasn't even like it. The 60s revival thing that happened with our generation only happened in the areas with money. And I remember figuring that out because I went to Haight-Ashbury one time. We were all starry-eyed, and we were just young. We were in our 20s, and we were just seeing what the fuck the thing was. And we had to see Haight-Ashbury. And we get there, and it's just this. There's nothing. There's nothing to remind you. I mean, sure, there's the accoutrement that's there, but the feeling is so different. And it's all corporate and fake. And I remember, it's such a weird eye opener, but we were super fucked up. And it was me and my girlfriend. She was a year older than me. And then we were with a couple of our friends. What was her friend and her friend's cousin. But they were like a married couple. And some of you may actually know who he is, Kenny Bartholomew. He's kind of big in the truther world. He's a piece of shit. I'd love to have a conversation with him, but he's a piece of shit. We were just on all kinds of opiates and shit. And we decided that day we wanted to hang out in Hollywood. So Hollywood was like a 2-hour drive from San Diego. So we're me and Bonnie are in the back seat, and Freebird came on. And Freebird's a song that, it's weird. Like, as much as I love classic music like Freebird and shit, I've just heard that song so many fucking times. Like, there are times when I like it and there are times when I don't, but all based out on fucking opiates, and it was this beautiful day and we were driving. It's like, it's like, oh, Freebird, and he went past it and I was like, dude, you just changed Freebird, and he was like, what? And mind you, he's only like 2 or 3 years younger than us. But he's like, what? And his cousin was a couple of years younger, maybe a year younger than he was. Like, they were like, maybe 2 or 3 years younger than us. But they didn't even hear of this. They'd never even heard of Freebird. And it was just so weird to me. And they didn't grow up with money. They were sort of white trashy. And I don't actually know when it sort of dawned on me, but I grew up in an extremely wealthy part of town. Northville was this really, really wealthy part of town. And I lived with my single mother. Like, we weren't in that. She did well, and we were very much middle class, but like, we were surrounded by extremely, extremely old money. Racist old money. And definitely weren't any halfies when I was growing up. But it's you know, that the kids I went, like, my, if you were to look up my graduation picture, you're gonna see nothing but, you know, a bunch of stoner long hairs, not nothing, but a lot of them tie-dye shirts on, wannabe hippies. And the reality is, like, the only way you can truly be a hippie is if you have money. Right? Hippies are, you have to eat. You have to be able to eat. People, these romantic stories that we're told about all this shit, this other time, you can't go much more than a day without eating before you start getting really negatively affected by it. And to think that not only are you eating, but you're taking drugs and you're all, like, it's just, you know, believe, and I do know that there are, like, you know, communal situations and all that. I get that. But there has to be some sort of money involved. And especially the newer aged hippies. Like, the most hippie guys I knew growing up, there was this dude named Nate Davis. And we used to make fun of him because he would always come to the parties and shit. And he was in his fucking, you know, 20s. And he'd be hanging out at high school parties. And he was ugly, and he was, you know, really stupid. And actually he was really, really smart, but he was like socially, like, just one of those ha 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 guys, you know, where he's just like this outrageous character. And of course, no girls ever liked him. I don't know if his thing was to prey on the ones that were sleeping, but I just, you know, he was one of the biggest hippies I knew. And he would always be like bumming off of people and all that. But then you find out his family is one of the richest families, like, around.
They just cut him off because he was a loser, probably. Like, they don't give him the allowance that...
Maybe, or he was just an asshole like that. You know? Probably the second. He was just an asshole. What'd you... I've written a comment that I didn't mean in that way, and if it annoyed you, I guess, like days ago, and since I found you alive, I want to say sorry. Have a good day.
Aw.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I always say it takes a really big person to do that.
He was literally laying his whole body.
It's like, really? What's he talking about?
Yeah.
I know. It just...
You would have laughed your ass off. I'm sure Dwayne did.
Sure. Chosen one to draw. Yes, yeah. But you know, the whole hippie creation, that was like an operation. There's this AI video going around. I think it's great, where it's like some dude in a mask is taking pictures. He's got a cell phone and he walks to different settings. And he takes a picture with different... Have you seen that one? It's really amazing. It starts off with, like, Dr. Dre and Eminem and all that, and he walks to these different situations. And in one of the situations, it's Jim Morrison, Crosby, and... Damn, who was the other one? David Crosby and
Stills in there.
No, well, yeah, but from then. But there's another character, I can't remember which one it is, but when I see these videos, like I said this to Angela, like you guys just don't know what it's like, man. That video, that AI video, it looks like somebody made it based off of they were big fans of mine. And just about everything I talk about, they sort of touched on. But what most people don't really understand is that your whole perspective of what a hippie is was a creation. You know, they decided at some point. So, war is big business. War is good control. And after World War I and World War II, where, the youth of the time, the main target audience of the time, they'd either grown up in the situation without the dad, or the dad came home and he was shell shocked, that they used to call it, and he, spent a year or two in the attic, and then once he finally came out, he was an alcoholic. He beat the shit out of his wife and kid, and yeah, yeah, stop that, please. God damn it, I hate when you do that. My wife doesn't understand that. Like, I respect what she says, and when she talks to me, I listen. So when I'm in the middle of saying something and she says something goofy, I'm like, oh, what did you just say, wife? And then I forget what I was fucking saying. But the whole Laurel Canyon conspiracy isn't nearly talked about enough. But that whole hippie character is outside. I know. The whole hippie character was a creation. Because again, kids had these people scenarios, and they knew that war was terrible. Even if we supposedly win the war, the losses are exponential. It's the gift that keeps on giving in a really bad way, right? And so they knew that with this Vietnam War that they were planning, that we just weren't going to go for it. There were people that had been through way too much and seen, the results firsthand, that they just weren't interested. Their grandfathers were fucked up. Their dads were fucked up. They wanted nothing to do with it. And so the think tank sat there and thought, they got together and thought, all right, what can we do? And it's pretty much the same thing it always is, problem, reaction, solution. But they sat there and, okay, so what are the traits we don't want? Okay, we don't want somebody with long hair. We don't want somebody with a beard. We don't want somebody who smokes pot. We don't want somebody who is, let's have sex with people, because when you do that, you're like, hey, let's try all these different flavors. It's much harder to make you racist when you're one of these people. And they just listed off the traits they didn't like. What do we want? We like our dark greens and our grays and our browns. So the opposite is somebody that wears a bunch of colors. Like watch old episodes of All in the Family. And the character, the meathead character, I mean, he's just such a fucking... It's a rich Jewish kid playing a character. Playing a regular, everyday, hippie sort of, And he is just awful. Mike is the most cringe... As cringe as Archie is, as cringe as Edith is, Mike is insufferable. Insufferable. He is by far the worst character on that show. And he's always, well, I have a wife, and my wife is supposed to blah, blah, and that whole dynamic between them is just so terrible. But they decided, all right, we're going to call this character, this hippie character we have, It's going to be all this, and we're going to present it as you're either a loser hippie who's against the war, or you're somebody who has their shit together. And, you know, you support your government, you support your system, therefore you support the war. So you're either a dirty, smelly hippie who doesn't want the war, or, you know, you're a good person. You're a productive member of society. And then they used all of their sons and daughters. Jim Morrison, like it sucks for me because Jim Morrison is one of my biggest inspirations and musical hero, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was hard to do once I got older than him. And now I see him as I see and I hear, like when I watch the Doors movie nowadays, when I was a kid, I used to watch it and think he was so cool. Val Kilmer is my Jim Morrison. And you know, he's so cool. And now I look at it and I'm like, man, what a fucking what a whiny little fucking brat. But, you know, his dad was the admiral on the ship used in the Gulf of Tonkin false flag, like completely truthfully documented, you know, no conspiracy theory about it. The Gulf of Tonkin, the thing that sort of kicked off the war, the Vietnam War, was Jim Morrison's dad was involved. He was not just involved, he was the admiral on the ship. Admiral is like the highest rank in the Navy. And you get guys like Crosby, Stills, Nash, where David Crosby is of the long standing, like the original come off the Mayflower Crosbys. And it's either Stills or Nash. Oh, hang on a sec. You have yourselves a great time. You, by far.
Exactly.
Look how nice your hair looks, dude. You can't fucking say you don't notice that, man.
Die pedophiles, please.
Die pedophiles, he says. I think it's actually both Stills and Nash. Their fathers were high-ranking military men involved in the mind control, MK Ultra kind of shit, or whatever it was called at the time, the OSS or whatever. And if you look into the Laurel Canyon thing, you see you know, Hollywood had so the military had the, you know, studio, the capabilities that rivaled, if not surpassed, Hollywood in some ways up in Laurel Canyon. And that's where they would film lots of things and they would do lots of things, and people didn't know about it forever. But it's just so much of it where, you know, it's like even in the Doors movie, right? It's Jim and Ray have that thing that happens on the beach where they decide they're gonna make a rock band and make $1 million. And then the next scene, they're practicing at this incredible beach house right on the fucking ocean. Like these little clues that, hey, who can afford that? Even back then, that was an expensive place to live. And they're just bumming it out, fucking trying to make themselves into a band where within a couple of, you know, weeks, they're playing the hottest clubs. They're already playing the hottest clubs on the scene, and Jim doesn't even turn around yet. He's still so nervous. And yet, with all the competition that existed and all that, these guys somehow rose to the top. You know, you think about this for so many artists. Like if you could just catalog all of the artists that have, you know, ever been signed. And you think like so many of these guys are like, they're still teenagers when they signed their deal. So they were in high school. When were they riding around in the van and riding around the country in a van, somehow booking shows and doing all this other shit while living out of a van and staying in hotels and building up an audience one bar at a time. How the fuck did anybody do that? You know? The whole thing is just it's a bunch of lies, it's a bunch of bullshit. And then you think like these artists that are, counterculture artists, going against the narrative, peace and love, and that's not what the situation wants. Why are these Jewish controlled record companies giving them all such lucrative contracts? Until you watch Hollywoodism, a lot of the stuff I'm saying might seem outrageous. But Hollywoodism was made in 1998. Don't worry, at the end there'll be a link to it. You can search it anytime you want, Hollywoodism. But they made a movie that's basically a flex. It's not even necessary. It's like a documentary, but I don't know. It's a mix. But they basically, they're just bragging, and they talk about how, well, not necessarily how they created Hollywood, but that they created Hollywood and, ran it with an iron fist, nepotism throughout. There's at one point right in the beginning of the movie, one of the people being interviewed, the knowledge people, the professors or whatever the fuck he is, the historian, he says, well, in the early, 30s and 20s and shit, that it would have been hard to find an extended Jewish family that didn't have one member that worked in the pictures in one way or another. And you just think like, man, that's interesting. It's fucking interesting. Hollywoodism is a must. I would suggest if this is your first time here, like, share, sub, always like, share, sub, guys. But you stop this video and go watch Hollywoodism and then come back. It's going to be an hour and a half, but it's well worth it. Because Hollywoodism explains to you why you think the way you do. It's not, it doesn't give you much insight into their thinking. It gives insight into the narrative that they want pushed. But like when you look at the old sort of propaganda aspects of it, these people were forced to live in their own communities. What? Why would you force them into their own community? You hate them so much, you don't want to, you go through these pogroms, these random pogroms where you come in and you kill them, but you still allow them to have, their own plots of land, their own rules, their own, it's just so stupid. It's just so, I'm going to do it. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I'm only an hour in. I could do it. But I would rather do it another day. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. It's just so informative. It's so telling. We'll even schedule it. When we get up here, we'll schedule it for tomorrow, where we're going to watch Hollywoodism. We're going to just critique what we see. That's all. If what we watch makes all of the sense and I'm wrong, then I would expect you to just really don't hold back and let me know. Let me have whatever you can. I'm always looking to be wrong. At the end of the day, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be the guy that singles out one group of people and says, those are bad people. I don't want to live in a world where, there's all this pedophilia and all this really horrible shit that goes on. The supremacy control narrative, I don't want that shit. And if I'm just mistaken on that, then by all means, help me understand what I'm getting wrong, and then I don't have to think this way anymore. You know, if any of you can make some reasonable arguments for why Jesus is a good thing, I'm all for it, man. I'd love to be like, oh, I'm not worried about things because when I die, the party starts. Yay. The problem is, it's just so stupid. I can't understand how anybody could think that way. I can't understand why anybody wants to think that way outside of the, I'm scared to die aspect of things. And I get that. But every other aspect of it is just such stupid nonsense. It really is fucking nonsense. And it doesn't even like, it's so weird to me because it's like when I say things like it's Jewish propaganda bullshit, it's a Jewish fairy tale. It's like, oh, do you know something I don't? Did you find some secret book? Did you get some information I don't have? No, it's just read it. It's pretty clear. The fact is, all of the characters that you read about, especially in Genesis, they're all Jewish. All of them. Every last one of them. Like the main characters. And it's all just, it's all stupid. It's all stuff that if told to you in a different narrative, you would say it was stupid. You would point out the same fucking inconsistencies and contradictions and shit. If the names were changed in the book, there's a great video of people going around and reading verses of the Bible to Christians, but it's in a Quran sleeve, so it looks like they're reading from the Quran, and they say they're reading from the Quran. And the people, all the Christians are like, yeah, that's exactly why we need to do something about those people. Look at what they believe in. And it's and then they pull it out and they're like, oh, well, I guess, I guess I was mistaken. One thing to serve the world is a beautiful idea. Serve? Why do you think you need to serve anyone? If everyone lives like they owe the world gratitude, why would you do that? If you think you owe somebody something, you'll do things that don't benefit you for fucking silly reasons. I think we need to... I just think we need to look at things like... I think there's a lot to be said about treat others as you want to be treated, as much as that's fucking kind of childish, but that's really what it comes down to. And we have to realize how unified we are and that we're being misguided. At the end of the day, we don't really know what the secret is, what the thing is, because we've all been so misguided and purposefully led in the wrong direction for generations. Our dumbass parents were just dumbasses. There's nothing to hate them over or anything. They were just products of, especially of a time, like it's so hard. Again, this is one of those things that's so hard for people to understand what it was like to grow up before there was an internet. Before you could just look things up when you wanted to know things. When you only got your information from the very, very carefully crafted Jewish news. Or the textbooks and the curriculum, the fucking Ghislaine Maxwell textbook or the Robert Maxwell textbooks. Like there has to be a bunch of you that have been on my shit for a long time, and you keep seeing these new, very allowed to be popular truthers that'll be like, I'm breaking some new story to you, and it'll be something that I talked about a long time ago. The whole Maxwell connection to the school books. How long have I been telling you guys that? You know, I looked into it immediately. Like I followed the same sort of path. Let's look into Epstein, and then if we can find anytime the Wikipedia page presents a like, it gives you a blue name, but that blue name is something that's prior to the thing you're talking about. Like there's lots of blue shit, but the stuff where it's like, Epstein, okay, so Epstein is related, is with Ghislaine. Ghislaine is Robert Maxwell. What's this Robert Maxwell character? Like, that's what I mean. You can go in different directions, but to just sort of backtrack the narrative and go back as far as you can go. And, Robert Maxwell, again, I've been just trying to get people to, like, talk about this guy for a long fucking time. And Robert Maxwell is not, like, people need to understand that it's not Israel. Right? You need to stop looking at manufactured Israel, at the construct, the place. At the end of the day, Israel is a place. So when people say Israel did it, they're saying a place did it. It's just like how we all talk about how racist Hollywood used to be. Back when they didn't allow black people or Mexicans or natives to be in the pictures, so they would put white people in blackface or brownface. Or they would pretend to be Asian. That's always funny, right? When you see one of those old Jewish guys and they talk like this because they're now praying a Chinese guy. Okay. Right? It's fucking crazy. It's so disrespectful and shitty. But again, people will say, well, the Hollywood used to be really racist. Hollywood's gotten better over the years. Hollywood's learned its lessons. Hollywood's this, Hollywood's that. And Hollywood isn't shit. Hollywood is a fucking construct. It's the six Jewish families, the six Jewish moguls that ran Hollywood that refused to let black people into their pictures. Again, another one of these great scenes in Hollywoodism is you have this Jewish guy talking about this film, Battle of the Nations or something like that. And he's like, oh, and because they always try to equate themselves to black people. Because, what's been done to black people is the only thing that we can actually sort of, like you heard the Native American story, but you didn't see it. You can't relate to it. And it could just be a fucking story for all you know. But what's been done to black people, I have family members that were directly affected by the Jewish racism that controlled this country. So when it, from like a present perspective on history, the most atrocious shit that is quantifiable for us in this life is them. Is what's been done to black people. So Jews love to be like, oh man, and look at how the people have treated us Jews and blacks for forever. Like they love to equate it like they weren't the ones doing it. And so there's this part where they're talking about this thing, and he's like, yes, and so the first scene shows the Jewish guys, and they're sort of screwing around, and they're doing this thing where they're spinning in a circle, kicking each other in the ass. It's really weird. But the cop shows up, and he says, and the cop shows up, and so the stereotypical Jewish guy pulls out his money wad, and he hands the money to the cop, and he bribes the cop. And then as the cop puts the money back in his pocket and goes to walk away, the money hops out of his pocket because it's on a string or some shit. And the Jewish guy puts it back in his pocket, and they celebrate. And, oh my gosh, what a terrible stereotype to think that they bribe the police, that they have the money and the power to be able to bribe the police. Because, you know, black people, the cops will take your money, but then what? Then you say, oh, I bribed him. And he says, yeah, right. Especially back before body cam days. But then he's like, and so then you see the black people, and they're in a bar. The black people are in a bar. They're drinking. They start fighting over a girl, and they pull out blades, and they start trying. So the black stereotype is then that they drink, they're womenized. You know, they fight over women and stupid shit like that, and they carry around blades. So we have rich, powerful, you know, sneaky Jews, drunk, you know, promiscuous, blade-wielding blacks. And then he's like, but then look at how they portray the Scottishmen with the most noble regalia and blah, blah, blah. And the Scottishmen are like, they're holding a shield and like these goofy rubber swords. And they're just like, blick, 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 blick. It's like, it's nothing regal or noble about it. But if you weren't paying attention to, you know, what was actually being there, and you just, there's a difference with anything, with history, like history sucked growing up because you had to regurgitate it. As an adult, history is fascinating because you can question it. And it's the same thing with stuff like Hollywoodism. If you're watching it because you're like, oh yes, we're the most persecuted, blah, 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 then it's going to just fit your narrative. But if you watch it with even the slightest skepticism, you'll see it for what it is, and it's just a bullshit propaganda piece. Jews don't discriminate blacks, but everyone except their cult. What? I don't know what you're talking about there, bud. No, they try to associate themselves with the persecution aspect because it's undeniable what's been done to black people. How incredibly mistreated blacks have been, you know, subjected to, the incredible mistreatment in the last 100 years, we'll say. You know, like it's just it's undeniable, and it's not just as it persecution and you know, like making things harder and whatnot, but it's like it's humiliation. You know, forever the black stereotypes they just exist. They still happen to this day. You'll still get black, you know, people that'll put on white blackface costumes for Halloween or some shit, and then they'll put, what? I didn't know this wasn't okay. Like it's just so stupid. But at the same time, you know, nobody bats an eye when you get the Wayans brothers doing white chicks. Nobody. Can you imagine if some white dudes did a black chicks movie? Can you imagine the outrage? The just false, you know, higher than thou sort of superficial outrage that would just be everywhere. Can you imagine? Stupid people would be losing their fucking shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, you can't do that. You can't show that. I always think it's funny when people like get mad about stereotypes, but they are the stereotype. You know, and they act like the stereotypes don't come from reality. Good afternoon, Failer.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
Good.
You got a little breakfast on the counter there. Make sure you pull it. There you go. Who wake his ass up too? Don't let him sleep.
He is
Okay. He's got food up there too, huh?
He is up a little bit.
He's lame. my kid's friend spent the night. He's cool. Like, there's finally a kid that is well-mannered and just has good intentions. You can tell he has good intentions. So for my kid to be friends with that kid, I'm more than cool with that. You know, there's so much to this that is like my wife was talking about it today. And she was like, you know, we got to figure out a way to sort of present this. And because I think she's catching on, like, as reluctant as she may be with it, it's just undeniable. You know, she's just intelligent. Anybody who's even slightly intelligent, if you just look at the information presented and you put down your goofy ass crybaby nature, like Thaddeus, you know, Thaddeus, he's so arrogant that he's one of these people who thinks that if he doesn't know it, it must not be true. And he doesn't look into things really in depthly. And if he does, he seems to forget all of his information because he never really presents any arguments that make sense. And he gets very, very, you know, I mean, as far as stereotypes go, he's as stereotype gay guy as you would ever, like, arrogant, you know, sassy. And then he's a smart guy to a point. But it's that arrogance, and the arrogance is everywhere. You know, if you ask me what the one thing is that holds everything together and holds us back and keeps everything apart at the same time, it's a weird thing, but it's arrogance. Do you know how many people will tell me I'm wrong about something, and they don't know what the fuck I'm even talking about. They haven't looked into it. You know, if it's somebody that's older, they're barely remembering like anything earth shape. Anybody that tries to argue the earth shape, it's like I can almost guarantee you've just never even bothered looking into it. Because if you'd looked into it even a little bit, you'd be you'd be questioning things. You know, the flat Earth argument is not a complicated one, and it's funny too because once you sort of go, hey, you know what? I think it is. I think that we've been lied to. Like the concept of a round Earth in the middle of this vacuum space, caught in this invisible ring of gravity that, you know, gravity makes big rocks revolve around each other, but then it also makes things stick to the big rocks. Like it's two completely different forces being called gravity. And nobody really even like talks about that too much. I don't understand. Does gravity make things revolve or does gravity make things stick? And just the concept of a dirt clump with a molten center, like a Tootsie Pop, you know, this Tootsie Pop with a molten fire center, flying around 67,000 miles per hour, flying around the sun, which is another clump of magic fire that stays lit forever in a completely, you know, in a vacuum space. Like it's when you really start like thinking about it, you think about the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory, I hate to admit it, it really is one of the one of the hardest things I've had to admit in my life, but the Big Bang Theory is actually dumber than the religious shit. It sucks, because the religious shit is what I consider to be the epitome of stupidity. The epitome of stupidity. It's cool. Epitome of stupidity. Epitome of stupidity. That is not smart. It is cunning. Real smart people won't do cheap cunning trick. Semantics or whatever. I don't want to get too far into semantics because there are words that you and I both don't know that could probably describe it better. But I don't even think they're that smart. I've never heard like especially when you look at like the old school Jewish scholar types, the penguins that, control the president. Those guys are never saying things that you're like, wow, that's really fucking incredible. I never thought about things like that before. And of course there are gonna be people that can regurgitate blah blah blah. But they're not smart. And as far as at the top of the mountain, at the top of the pyramid, they have a playbook. They have a playbook that they follow, and maybe it's more, again, the TV show thing. It's more of a script that they follow. And they just keep regurgitating this because they're not creative. They don't come up with new things. This Epstein stuff is nothing new. The only thing that's new about Epstein is our access. Because we have the internet and we have the ability to communicate with each other and say, hey, did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. Whereas before you thought you saw shit and you'd talk to a couple of your moron friends and they'd be like, what do you mean? Or you'd bring it up at the store and somebody'd be like, no, man, Trump, you gotta support the president, blah, 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 Reagan, whatever, You didn't have what the internet provides us. What the fuck? The internet provides us something that hasn't happened before. Okay. Kid went running out. Nope, better be there. So what we have today has put a story that every other time it's come up, one of the main ones that I've sort of stumbled into recently is the Franklin cover-up, the Franklin story. And this has been talked about before. I've known about this for a long time, but I've never really delved deep into it like I have recently. And especially, you could have seen you've been presented with the same narrative. I was presented with the same narrative. I've known about Franklin for like 20 years, It's easily one of the first conspiracies along this line that I discovered. Ted Gunderson, all that shit. But without having all of the pieces that I have now, I couldn't see that for what it is or what it was. But now with these eyes that I have, I see it differently. And when you present me with the idea that this Lawrence King character, who was elevated to the, controller of finances in the black community or for the black community, obviously his name is Lawrence King. I mean, he can't be too far removed from his masters, from his owners, right? And so you see this narrative that, you know, he's given this position, and it turns out that he's running this pedo ring, and he's the Diddy of his day. You know, he's the scapegoat. And when shit started to come out, all the blame went on him. But if all the blame's on him, you know, you're going to still have to account for who is he trafficking to and all these other things. And so the lead investigator, Gary Caradoni, he procures some fucking... He has to fly to Chicago one night to get some pictures that you know, photographic evidence of this Larry King guy doing some horrible shit along with a bunch of other people in the photographic evidence. And and it happens to be All-Star Weekend in Chicago, so he takes his kid up with him, you know, feeding two birds with one seed. He goes up to... They watch the game. Now, this is where the story gets strange. So apparently he's now flying home at like 2:30 in the morning when his plane falls apart mid-air, crashes over a 3/4 mile area, is upside down, and catches on fire. This is at 2:30 or so, but nobody finds the plane until around 6:30 a.m. And it just happens to be that photographic evidence, his briefcase full of the evidence, disappears. This happens in July of 1990, and I mean, unless it happens on like July 1st. When was... there we go. All-Star Game. That's how I can find the date. Oh, finally. All right. I've been wondering the date of the crash. Now we know. 1990 baseball All-Star Game. Booyaka, booyaka, booyah, booyah, kasha. Booyah, booyah, kasha. July 10th, 1990. Okay. So, Gary Caradoni's plane crashes. See, I had to find it that way because there's no dates. You can't... When you look up the story, for some reason, nobody decided to include the date when his plane crashed. So I just found out, July 10th. So that means when within 3 weeks, because, you know, you only have till July 31st, so that's 21 days. You only have 21 days after that. Is it July 30 or 31st? I think July 30 is the 31st, right? Either 20 or 21 days, whatever. Within 3 weeks, a federal grand jury decides that again, this dude's fucking hasn't even... I mean, maybe he's had his funeral, I don't know, but this dude's just died. We don't know what happened to it. The explanation just isn't there. It's fishy as fuck. How did his plane just fall apart? What are you guys talking about? It just fell apart mid-air. They don't even bother. They don't even bother to do an investigation. Nobody's grieving. There's no, like, this isn't like a new piece of the puzzle, especially considering he went to retrieve photographic evidence that was not found, but neither was his entire briefcase. No remnants of his briefcase. Nothing. You would think this would have blown the case wide open, but instead, within July, a group of his peers decide that there's no evidence. This whole thing is unfounded, and let's just wrap this whole thing up. And they try to make it go away, but I would assume there were probably a lot of people that were like, well, this isn't fucking okay. What about Gary Caradoni? What about Gary Caradoni's plane? What about his 8-year-old son that was in the plane with him? How dare you motherfuckers do this? By August 20th, so within another 3 weeks, within 6 weeks of this man dying, in the most mysterious plane crash like you can imagine, the most suspicious plane crash you can imagine, within 3 weeks, we're in the Gulf War. The Gulf War officially begins on August 20th. And guess what? Nobody talks about Gary Caradoni again for decades. And I literally can't find anything. I can't find videos. I can't find anyone who's done as much looking into this guy as I have, or into this narrative. But to me, especially when you look at what's going on today, this explains why we were in the Gulf War to begin with. It wasn't the narrative they created. It was to cover up what this meant. Because the Franklin story went all the way up to GWB, to George Walker Bush. They were a briefcase away from being exposed. They were a plane landing away from being exposed. Do you understand how fucking insane that is? And then to think it disappeared, but how could it not? The Gulf War is obviously going to trump this bullshit. Do you guys get this, man? We don't know if his plane got hit by a missile. If everything is and it crashed in, so it crashes in Illinois, but they bring in the medical examiner from Iowa, because I guess Illinois doesn't have their own medical team. Like it's just so suspicious. And it's even more suspicious that there's so little about it. The lead investigator into a pedophile ring, $38 million theft, goes down in an unexplainable plane crash, to this day, still can't be explained, with his 8-year-old son, known to be carrying photographic evidence that was going to bust everybody. And it's a footnote in history. It's nothing. You don't know about it. The only reason you guys would know anything about this is because of me. Not because of Ted Gunderson. Ted Gunderson was trying to get you to focus on satanic fucking cults and Satan bullshit. Former FBI chief multiple times over, and Ted Gunderson was FBI till he died. All this shit was coming out. They needed to put somebody in a position of authority. They needed an Alex Jones. They needed a Ben Shapiro. Well, not Ben Shapiro as much, but, an anomaly. Fox News correspondent anomaly. Don't forget to believe in Jesus anomaly. But you don't have, as far as credibility goes, it doesn't get much better. It doesn't get better than Ted Gunderson. You couldn't ask for a more on the surface credible source. I mean, you're just a dumbass if you actually believe that this guy was FBI and at the end of his life decided, I'm not going to do this anymore and I'm just going to tell all my secrets and blah, blah. Come on. He was playing a fucking role. And because of it, you get something called the satanic panic of the 80s. Where people thought satanic... I mean, I can absolutely attest to that. I lived through that. I remember being a kid and thinking that Satanists... Like, I knew when I was... by the time I was older, man, Satanists... I would have had a few run-ins with Satanists in my life. You just like I thought that I would see skinheads. I thought skinheads were going to be everywhere. Movies like Higher Learning told me that skinheads were everywhere. And of course, the skinheads, you associate skinheads with two groups. But it's all the same shit. This is how they operate. This is how they operate. Think about this. Right? This show was Friday night. TGIF. 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Full house. This show lasted for years. What adult males are like, ooh, let me watch some Full House on Friday night. I want to see this goofy fake family that's in this impossible situation. Like, the house that they live in is a multi-million-dollar house. That type of house, that real estate, I mean, it's all just so fake. The world we were presented with was so fake. The dangers, all these different bad guy characters you thought you were going to meet as a kid. You thought there was Satan people everywhere. You thought that there was the skinheads were everywhere. You didn't realize that the most racist people you were going to meet were like the average everyday white people. And more often than not, a lot of it's Jewish, but you don't realize it's a Jewish thing. And even if you do, well, you're not supposed to say it. Did they hide my comment from you guy? I typed the whole paragraph. Yeah, it's gone, bud. Send it to me. Take a picture and send it. I would have read it if you did. You always got to keep that in mind. If I don't read your comment and you're somebody whose comments I read, then it's because I didn't see it. Matt says, yeah, the narrative is actually just dumb people logic. They assume everyone takes their drugs and medications by Big Pharma to keep them sedated enough not to question anything. I mean, so that's a great point, but so there's a really recent episode of South Park that I just seen for the first time. I told you guys I bought my kids the complete series of South Park. So one of my sons sat there and watched it all. The other one would pop in, watch bits and pieces. But there's this one episode where it's a Valentine's episode, and Cartman, I didn't see the whole thing. But there's this little naked, and this is such a weird thing that slides by, and I didn't know it until just, this week, until very recently, but I had no idea that South Park consistently animated little kid dicks. Like that's supposed to be funny, to see little tiny kid dicks. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? Who the fuck thought we needed to see that? Who thought, man, we need to lobby for this? Because that wasn't something that was just, they just did it and it was acceptable. there had to be the standards and practices and the battles and the lawyers and all that they finally were allowed to animate little kid dicks, and they do it all the fucking time. Right? It is pervy as fuck, even though that's not your shit. Just says, yeah, that's pervy as F. You got a translation symbol for that one there, Matt. But there's, so the episode is Cartman is it's like he's this Cupid, right? And he's naked and he flies around and he shoots arrows into things. But this Cartman, this Cupid, is off his meds, and he's Cupid Yee is what he keeps getting called. Cupid Yee, stupid Yee. And he's pushing the idea that there's a Jewish conspiracy and that Jews control Hollywood and all this shit. And he's it's like this really negative thing. And he's spitting out all this craziness. And the way that they end up stopping him is Cartman finally catches him and forces a little blue pill into his mouth. It looks like a Loratab, old school Loratabs. And the medication makes him turn into normal Cupid and stop pushing such a crazy Jewish conspiracy. Literally, they're telling you that the medication that they give you is to prevent you from seeing the Jewish conspiracy. Because a lot of the points obviously there's exaggerated aspects of the points being made to make them sound silly. But all of the points made are based in truth before you get the exaggerated spin put on it. Oh, they curbed your swear words. Can't have those swear words. But that's that to me is such a telling episode. I'm glad I caught it. I didn't see that episode all the way. I should watch it again. And there's a lot more of those episodes strewn in there. I just don't have the patience to sit there. Like I love sitting there with my kids and watching the shit, but I'll fall asleep. If I sit there and watch fucking videos, I'll fall asleep. Doesn't matter what it is. If I'm sitting there just doing nothing and watching TV, I'll fall asleep. It's a waste of time. But South Park does that a lot. And you have to take into consideration that the guys behind South Park have been allowed to do shit nobody else has been allowed to do. Why? Because they're two powerful Jewish family guys. Obviously. Right? Obviously. Maybe you're just old. Yeah, I am. That's what all this is about. Not sure if you realize this, but this isn't young man shit. I'd show you my ball hair, and I know you'd like to see it, but I'd get in trouble. But that episode is so telling, man. They're literally, it's like literal. That they were trying to catch Kanye and force medication into him so he would stop talking about Jew stuff. And, that's one thing when you watch it, but then when you have the context that I've presented to you, the auto-emancipation pamphlet, and all of the different examples of take your meds that have been on here, oh my God. Think about that shit. Take your meds. Take your meds. When you speak against them, take your meds. That's schizophrenia. You're schizophrenic. Auto-emancipation. If you're opposed to them, to the idea of their supremacy, that's you're delusional. That's psychosis. That's irrational phobia, a psychosis. They're literally telling you if you don't accept their supremacy, then there's something wrong with your mind. You have a psychosis going on. And then this episode puts it into, and that's literally, I mean, you're not going to see it any other way. Anytime Cartman says anything about, Jew conspiracy stuff, it's played off as he's just being sort of racist, crazy Cartman. It's amazing how much they love to do that. They love to just put it in your face and be like, yeah, there you go. The thing is, denying the Hollywood conspiracy, while they made Hollywoodism in 1998, and there's countless, clips of different Jews saying, of course we control Hollywood, and blah, 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 blah. There's a line from Hollywoodism where the one of the descendants of the six families says, essentially, you could say, the American dream is the Jewish dream. Like, it's not a fucking... Hollywoodism is really telling. We're going to have to watch it, and we'll do that tomorrow, man. But when you connect that shit together and you realize, like, that they use Hollywood to create our narrative, that movie just presents that phrase, like literally word for word, that they wanted to make America the way they wanted it to be. They wanted the life that they wanted, so they made America the way they wanted through Hollywood. To now say that, oh, you can't suggest that they control Hollywood or else you need medication. That's just stupid on their end, but that's what I mean. They're stupid inbred fucks, so you can't expect them to really... They don't think about the long game in that regard. Because their short term is so, it's so great. They get to do whatever they want, and, they're not... They live very, very good lives. And it's in your face, but there's not that urgency to actually achieve the real goal because it's good. They can play the long game without really thinking about it. So when they say stupid things or they do stupid things, it's not like it's going to matter. There's not going to be any repercussions. They know as soon as somebody says something, they'll go, oh, you're crazy. That's psychosis. Irrational phobia. You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that. And that's that. That'll be, then, and it'll usually work. The argument will somehow end. The interview will end, whatever it is. Like, watch anything with Anna Kasparian or Kasparian. I don't know her last name. But she'll just roast the guys over and over again. She'll bring up all kinds of shit. And they just say, well, you just cannot say that. That is not fair. You cannot. What about what these people do? What about what those people do? That is very anti-Semitic. You cannot say those anti-Semitic things. And it's like, yeah, okay. Why do you keep saying the same things? Get past the initial argument. Tell me what's wrong. And they never do. Thanks, Matt. So there. Look, if I was wrong, guys, there'd be somebody here telling me how I'm wrong, what I'm wrong about. That's how this shit works, especially after all these years of doing it. There sure are a lot of trolls that love saying the same kind of dumb shit, but nobody ever tells me what I'm wrong about. And I'm using, like, I'm not telling you about some fantasy god bullshit, the devil's coming and riding on fucking horses and... No, man, it's reality. The fantasy is used to hide the reality. We're talking about people who literally, they hide the idea that the IDF attacked a funeral, that a military police force attacked a journalist's funeral, that they killed her and then attacked her funeral. they're hiding that by the fact that they killed her. They made the more important story that they killed her. And you can always play off the killing story, you know, and they still do. Oh, it was an accident. They didn't realize, you know, it was a mistake. Well, don't worry. The guy that shot her, he was killed. He's one of the like handful of people that were killed in another operation. Because, you know, they very rarely do they take casualties. So this mystery man that they refuse to give up, that they refuse to identify, suddenly they're like, okay, it's this guy, but he's already dead, so end of story. No accountability. And that's just, you know, and that's the narrative that's presented. And nobody talks about the fact, well, yeah, but then 2 days later you showed up to her funeral and you attacked it with smoke bombs and flashbangs, and your IDF soldiers dressed in body armor were literally attacking the people in the funeral procession, where all they wanted to do was standard stuff where they carry the martyred body, the you know, this highly revered person, they carry them from the church to the cemetery, and then they bury them and they sing songs and shit. And the IDF, according to Netanyahu, they would much rather the world see the Israeli forces attacking a funeral than the Palestinians carrying the casket, showing unity, singing songs, and waving flags. They thought it was better to show the world the funeral attack. Like, it's just... It's so dumb, and it's so obvious, and it's so irritating that, like, I'm the one saying it. Why am I the one saying it? You know? Why isn't some highly revered person on TV saying it? Why isn't our leader saying it? Why aren't, you know, important artists saying this shit? This was an American Palestinian woman, dual citizenship, who was a 20-year veteran of the press, highly revered, known for covering tough stories and making Israel look bad. And she was murdered during a situation where there was nothing going on. She was just walking, and she had a press vest on and a press helmet on, and they still were able, with their sniper, to shoot her in the face as she was walking. And then, as she was laying there bleeding out, they would shoot the ground around her if anybody tried to get near to help her. Then they tried to blame it on the Palestinians. Like, it's as nightmare as it gets. And then they kidnap her brother, the IDF. So it happens, let's say it happens on a Tuesday. They kidnap the brother on a Wednesday and tell him, hey, don't do the funeral like you're planning on doing it. We don't want the sign, we don't want the singing, we don't want the flags. Or are you gonna be sorry? And they let him off. And instead of, you know, keeping quiet and doing what they wanted, he actually went to the press and told them about it. And then on Thursday, which is why there was another reason why there was so much press there at her funeral. But on the Thursday, if it was a Thursday, they, they showed up and kicked the shit out of him. Interestingly enough, the Tuesday it happened. Instead of us talking about, hey, the Israelis just killed this Christian, American, Palestinian press, veteran, highly beloved person in cold blood, because the grocery store shooting happened that day. The obvious operation where he filmed himself doing it, and you can see by his movements and his precision, his accuracy, all of it, that this was an operation. He didn't miss. And he moved like a soldier. And whatever happened to that story, we don't even know what happened to that story. That was the Tuesday. The Thursday, the day of the funeral attack, instead of us caring about that, where they actually hit the pallbearers, the people carrying the casket, and they dropped the casket, but they were able to catch it before it hit the ground. I wish it would have hit the ground and her body fell out, because that would have, and I'm sure she wishes that would have happened, because that would have been something that would have been, unable to keep quiet. That would have been a worldwide story. If the body would have fucking fallen out and all that shit, they wouldn't have been able to keep that covered up. Right?
Apparently, a little spill.
Yeah, of course. We have a Thaddeus today. Go figure.
Hi, Thaddeus.
So the Thursday that happened, that the funeral happened. Well, that day we cared about the fact that the Texas, I think it was Texas. Was it Texas or was it New Mexico? Where the shooting happened, and the school shooting, the 19 kids and the 2 teachers were killed all in the same class. But for some reason, the entire school had to be locked down, and the only way the parents could get their kids back was by giving DNA samples. Remember that? You guys remember that? That was fun, wasn't it? But instead of us, oh no, Matt, I just haven't gotten the comment yet. Instead of us, focusing on that shit, they, we were rightfully distracted by something much closer to home. I mean, a funeral of a woman in fucking Palestine is attacked, or 19 children are killed. What are you going to pay attention to? At a school where your kids could go to school. That's how this whole operation works, man. That's how they distract us. That's how this whole fucking thing works. So Matt says, why you, guy? Because you are not bought out. Simple as that. Most people have a price to shut up, but it depends on how selfish one is. You wouldn't do it no matter what if you genuinely could not see. I mean, they don't need to pay to shut me up, because obviously they just shut me up, and it's not like you guys are out there sharing it. It's not like everybody's sitting there clicking share, clicking Facebook, saying this guy's crazy, come tell him how. They don't really have to do a lot to keep me censored. They keep me I have 2,500 subscribers, 6 viewers, and 10 likes. And people don't automatically see that and go, holy shit, what did I just stumble into? And then when you combine it with what I happen to be talking about, you go, oh shit, this guy's onto something. You would think. But they do a pretty good job of censoring me without having to pay me. And they shut my music down, and they do all that shit. Like the stuff that happens, that has happened, my Facebook page, our band page, we weren't allowed to invite people to like the page for like 2.5 years. Didn't know why. Never got the justification rule break or whatever. Never knew. I didn't know that was a punishment you could get.
Can you hand me that?
I've never heard of anybody else saying that. That's what the fucking the main premise behind social media is, that you invite people into your world. YouTube wouldn't take our money to promote our songs. We have to be really careful. Like we have songs, we buy ads on Facebook, which who knows what the fuck that does. But we have to make sure we pick the right song, because for the most part they won't. If you haven't figured out that I'm censored at this point, not you, Matt, but anybody. If you haven't figured out that you've stumbled into something that you have not seen before, You know, if you can watch the video where Grok suddenly starts talking to me in my voice and then denies having the ability to do so.
It's crazy. Really is crazy.
If you see that and you still think that it's normal, go ahead, go find another video of the same thing. Not some janky fucking edited bullshit, not some AI bullshit. I think, if anything, my genuine reaction to what happens, like you can see it in my face, that should be the tell-all. Not a lot shakes me. And that was pretty shaky. That was pretty fucking crazy. It's all about the kids. We better keep the kids safe. It's the only hope for the future. Well, that's what the newest song is about. Part 1 is about we have to keep the fucking... We have to... If we want to save the world, we have to protect the Jewish children first. And that's a really weird thing for me to say of all people, but there's a reason. Well, that shit was funny as fuck, though, wasn't it?
What?
I'm with you until even into the afterlife. That's what you're talking about?
No.
Oh, check out that video I sent you. That shit's funny as fuck. I sent you something.
Through Messenger?
Yeah, probably. Let me see.
He's so sweet, though. God.
This one. Dumb girl.
I'll always be yours, even in the afterlife. Hell no. We said till death do us part. I've suffered enough.
He's dead serious. Hell no. That shit's funny. Let's see. Your last video on Facebook, I saw the TBG one was actually cool as fuck. I never saw the videos of your songs before. I mean, they're literally a whole list of them in the description every time. So, I don't know. I think our newest video is, like, even if I had a gazillion-dollar budget, I don't think I could have made a better video. You know, I mean, maybe if I had the ability to, like, edit the video a little bit and I could, like, highlight different bits as I go, but then that could lead to interpretation, or that could say that I was, you know, I edited some other thing. The newest video is called Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness. The link to the song, or to the article, is in the fucking description of the video. And then just to take it to the next step, like, and Charles did the same thing when he put the video together. He said, you know, I didn't put any sort of graphics on it or anything, and I was like, you did perfect. The fact that there is no TBG, the Bilderberg Group, or anything like that on it, it's just what it is, which is me doing a screen recording where you see me type in Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness, and then the thing pops up and I click on it, and then I scroll through the fucking video, or through the article. There's no denying it anymore. Not to mention, now there's video evidence of it in case they decide to take it down.
Right. There's that.
You know, that's the point behind the Grok thing too. I mean, there's video evidence in multiple facets now in case they try to take it down. But the Israel Hayom article is it's the piece. It's the smoking gun. It's that part where it explains how you have a culture that lives off of genocide. Don't worry, part 2, I'm trying to get Charles to do it quicker. Like, I know it's like blah, 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 whatever it is, but I want him to do part 2 immediately. I watched the whole thing, super captivating. Awesome, that's great to hear. I hope you shared it too. If everybody would just share something like 5 times, share it in a group, share it with a friend, share it on, like, that's literally, I am fighting against the entire fucking system. they're not going to prevent anybody more than they prevent me. Because they know, dude, if one of my shits pops off, there's a fucking 100, 200 song catalog that they're going to have to contend with. The whole thing is carefully crafted to, I mean, even my wife 10 years ago, everybody was telling me, dude, you got to kind of back it off a little bit. You're going a little too hard at things and, blah, blah, blah. And I kept saying, no, you don't understand. The world is going to adjust to fit my music. My music is not going to adjust to fit the world. And it's undeniable that that's what's happened. You can go listen to that entire catalog, and outside of maybe a handful of songs that give you a name, so you can then maybe put a date to it at least a little bit, all of the songs sound like they were written last week and they could apply today. They're written to be timeless because the issues that we're facing are the same. It's always the same shit. I shared the link to Bottom Markness, 2 alone separately on top of the song. Appreciate you, man. Nobody responds, so most of the people I know are I don't think people see it. I think if you share our stuff, it doesn't necessarily show up on your feed when people of I know long years ago, the narrative was that when you shared something, 10% of the people in your list would see it in their feed. But I don't believe that, And I don't think when our stuff is shared that it necessarily pops up when people are scrolling through, because we would just get looky-loo looks at the very least. The main way that I know I'm censored on the music end is it's a weird thing, but it's like, it doesn't have anything to do with my arrogance, right? I'm not going, man, we should have a bunch of comments telling us how great we are. We should have a bunch of likes. We should have a bunch of shares. We should have this. We should have that. We should have, The thing that gives it away more than anything is the fact that we don't have a bunch of negative comments. That's, that's not how social media works. That's not how life works. And I use this example all the time because it's a good one. But every time we go to a restaurant and we actually have a really good situation, a good server or whatever, we ask to speak to the manager.
You always get this deer in headlights look.
Right.
Or they're like, oh God, what are you going to bitch about look?
Right.
It's funny. And
the manager always comes up, like you can sense the energy, like he's like, fuck, all right, here we go. Hey, how are things, folks? My server said that you wanted to see me? And we always, let them know, like, no, man, we just want to let you know everything was really great. Restaurant's clean. Server's really good. We know you guys don't hear it enough, but you're doing a great job. And you can see their whole, demeanor shift.
What? Are you for real?
Right. And they're like, you're not trying to get a free something, like you're not trying to complain about something stupid or
right.
And they just they're grateful because it never fucking happens to them. People complain to them hundreds of times a shift. Maybe not that much, but still. They never get compliments. I worked in the restaurant business. You very rarely saw it. And it's the same thing online. People are really, really quick to shit on something. If they like something, they'll say so. Sometimes. I mean, I know personally.
They're much quicker to bitch or combat.
For sure. I know personally, I'll be watching something and I like the thing. And I don't click like until the person says it, just because I don't think about it. And then when they say it, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I want to show that person support. I just don't think about it. And I think maybe some of you are like that. I don't know. But I know for a fact that if what we were producing was shit, it would be ripped apart. What is this crap? This crap. What are these? This crap. People would be very unkind. The anonymity of the internet makes everyone much more vocal and tough than they normally would be.
Keyboard warriors.
Exactly. So the fact that our page is like, dude, we have 6,000 following on our page. We're following 50 and we have 6,000 following. Just basic kind of shit means everything we post should almost immediately have 600 views. All these people, they chose to follow the page. Nobody made them. Where are all these people at? 6,000? Do you not get how... Come on. I know that's not like monumental or anything, but it's not small. And you would assume anybody that has 6,000 following, when they post something, it would generate some sort of movement. The thing is, if I go live on Facebook through any phone, I'll get this notification. Well, no, I don't know if it's through any phone anymore. I haven't tried through my wife's phone because somehow my wife's been removed from the band page. But when I go live on Facebook, the pedophile Mackenzie Pizzagate piece of shit that comes on here will go on that feed, and I'll see the one bubble. So I might be allowed to get 2 viewers, maybe 3. One of them will always be at least the Mackenzie troll or a Guy Williams sucks or something like that. And it's usually within seconds of me going live, which totally makes sense, especially considering there's these long stretches now in between when I go live. So for me to go live on Facebook would be completely random and out of the blue. And for you to immediately be there means you're just waiting and watching. You have some sort of, super efficient alarm system that lets you know.
Sure.
But when I do, at the bottom, it'll flash every 2 minutes or whatever, slow connection. I have no idea what that fucking means. I've posted pictures, asked other people if they've seen that before. Nobody's ever seen it. Why does it say slow connection? What the fuck does that even mean? It's not slow if I go live here. It's not slow if I go live there. But for some reason, when I go live on my Facebook pages, I have a slow connection. Right? Totally makes sense. Well, let's see. I hope someone actually out there sees it and thinks, wow, this actually changes everything. I'm laying it out as best I can. And part 2 sort of cleans it up. So hopefully Charles gets part 2 done immediately. No, I sent it direct message to a bunch of people, not the feed. Man, anything you do is appreciated. I never shit on anything anyone does to help out. I can confirm that, guy. I worked at 4 different restaurants before all front of the house positions, and people and tips are rare too. I was broke as fuck. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I was a fantastic server. I was always I was the Monty of the group. I always walked out with my $100 bill. My wife, same kind of thing. But I took the job seriously. I'm just one of those people that if you're gonna sweep the floor, then you sweep the floor better than anybody else ever does.
That's the significance of having grandparents, tutelage in your life.
Drill that shit into your head.
When you're young. And it's going to be interesting to see when this young generation become grandparents, how that dynamic shift.
Oh, it's complete. It's all fucked. It's all completely different.
It's gonna.
But we're coming up on the 100-year cycle, so that 30s time when something happens, the 29s going into the 30s, and the 30s are pretty tumultuous and seemingly set us back. And we pull out of it. I would have said we pull out of it in the 30s, but the Pentagon to me throws everything off. The Pentagon is the most fascinating fucking story, and nobody talks about it. I was shocked when I searched the YouTube for Pentagon Tartaria, and there were no fucking videos. Mine's the only video. I was a busser, dishwasher, and host. Oh yeah, those positions suck. Don't ever be a busser, dishwasher, and host. Like, I mean, okay, so this is something that just couldn't happen today. It just, when I was 14 and 15, I was working back of the house. I was a dishwasher. And I would work a lot. Like there was the whole you can only work this amount of hours, but nobody followed it.
Yeah, it was very loosely monitored.
And as the dishwasher, you were the last to leave. And on the Friday and Saturday nights when the restaurants would be open till 11,
especially if they served alcohol.
Right. And the dishes would just pile up. I can remember like working till 2 a.m. and then having to walk home. And this is 14, 15, 16, like that was just, if you weren't willing to do that, you wouldn't be able to do it because that was what the job entailed, and there was always going to be a lot of other kids that were going to do it. And they worked this.
We're raised by boomer parents that work hard.
I mean, who were at work?
Yeah.
Our parents were at work. And so that was just it. Like I didn't get rides to work. I had to ride my bike or walk to work. And that, it just,
It's definitely a different day and age.
And I don't know if that's better or worse.
In some ways.
I mean, you put me in front of a computer and I can navigate real basic shit. But you put my kid in front of it and he's let me adjust this, let me do this. It's fucking incredible.
It really is. It's impressive.
But that's completely reliant on the system. Because when that infrastructure crashes, he doesn't know what to fucking do.
Yeah, they're lost. The cash register's down. Okay, so do it manually. What do you mean? Give change manually. Well, how do I know how much change to give them? Because you fucking
tax.
do the math.
What about the tax?
Okay, so calculate.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, something as crazy as my kids haven't had chicken pox. Chicken pox is supposed to be dangerous once you get older. But is that true? Are the kids not getting chicken pox because it's not in the thing?
Did their job.
Or the recipe changed and they're not, I mean, this is something that in the last couple of weeks. Or were they giving us
chicken pox with the other vaccines?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. In the last couple of weeks, we've been stumbling into shit that you would have never expected. From amnesia to Tourette syndrome. These aren't things that are documented throughout history.
I was coming in from something and you got mad at me because I was arguing, but I didn't know what point you were making. Now I get it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's all the same. Like you look at these,
vaccines,
you look at these dates where, you would think like amnesia, getting conked on the head and forgetting who you are. I mean, isn't that what happened throughout the decades, the centuries of war between Hoogajugi and Hoogajugi, and
that's why my mind went straight to war. You get blown up and get knocked unconscious.
Exactly.
You're gonna have amnesia.
You would think, but that's not how that works. And it's not like it's documented throughout history of people getting conked on the head and losing their brains. But when I was growing up in the 80s and then prior to, like, if you had a long enough running show, there was an amnesia episode. Somebody got conked on the head, forgot who they were. They were a completely different person for an episode. And then at the end, they get conked back on the head again and they're back. I mean, that even goes to into the 90s with In Living Color. Because the Men on Film thing, where, you know, the gay guys, because they were like the first really, really openly flamboyant characters where they were obviously gay and they were making, but they would never say it. They would never actually say it. They would just hint at it. Mary, what's going on there, chickie? But they, you know, at one point, a light falls from the set and hits the Damon Wayans character on the head. Antoine Merriweather? No, that's not Antoine. It's the other one. But it, you know, it knocks the shit out of him, and he gets up, and now he's like, "Yo, what's up, man? Yo, I'm a dude now, bro. What's up?" You know, he's oh yeah, that girl's ass was so fun, and blah, blah. Like he becomes a completely different stereotype. And the other one keeps trying to like hit him with stuff to try to knock it out of him. And then you know, it's a 2-part episode. And at the end of the second part, Damon Wayans' tough guy is like, "Yo, we're gonna fight, bro. We're gonna fight." So the other one goes, and hits him. And Damon Wayans' character starts crying because it knocked the gay back into him. But like that's you know, the guy lost his fucking mind for a minute because of whatever, because he got hit on the head, causing amnesia. If I asked you what is the main cause of amnesia, you're absolutely going to tell me it's he got conked on the head. Yeah. If you look up the history of amnesia, the first documented cases are actually in the 1900s. You can't even find really too much in the 1800s. It sort of first gets mentioned in the mid 1800s, but the first guy to actually study this phenomenon that's apparently been here forever is in the 1860s, I believe, or something like that. And then you look at the historical cases, and apparently amnesia is incredibly rare. It almost never happens. And the cases where it does happen, somebody got fucked up. Somebody was fucked up some way or another, like the famous cases, and they had something happen to them during surgery or some sort of medical procedure where they woke up with amnesia. That's literally all of the cases. None of them are the dude got conked on the head. So where the fuck did that come from? Where the fuck did that come from?
Is that just the excuse?
Yeah, no, it's sleeping sickness. The height of the like amnesia stuff is directly associated with sleeping sickness. When you literally look up amnesia, the sleeping sickness epidemic is brought into it.
Really?
Yes. Her and I sat here and showed you guys that the sleep sickness is directly related. Well, okay, we didn't show you that there was a direct relation, right? We showed you that in 1915, the rabies, the pertussis, and the typhoid vaccines were introduced. 3 major vaccines introduced to the population in 1915, and in 1916, sleep sickness takes over. And it ravages the countryside, like it ravages the world. And then in 1929-30, it stops, you know, just in time for the fucking depression. And we just don't know how it happened. It's just another weird thing, weird moment in history that never even gets talked about. It doesn't, unless you know to look, Or you remember the movie Awakenings? You guys watch? We need to watch that shit again with new eyes. Yeah, I want to watch Awakenings again. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I loved it. I saw it in the theater. I saw it in the theater with John and his dad. And you know, John's dad was jacked. And I remember watching the movie and I just kept looking.
Like, is this touching you? Is this touching your
No,
heart?
he actually started crying. Like I was shocked. And I remember we were on the way home and he was like, somehow it came up and he was like, yeah, I was trying to, really get into it, but I kept seeing Guy looking over at me. I couldn't believe such a big muscly man was so touched by that shit. The book is amazing. Never read the book. But the movie, I think the movie's great because it does give you the visual of it. It's important to actually see the visual of it. The people that were these statues, who at the same time, if you threw the ball at them, they'd catch it. So clearly something is there. And if it doesn't, god damn. Sure does resemble autism, right? Almost like the recipe wasn't quite right and they accidentally fucked a whole bunch of people up like that. Or maybe that also has to do with reprogramming, resets, orphan trains, that kind of shit too. Who knows? When they talk about amnesia and they talk about those a lot of people that hysteria and these things that used to get people put into asylums, a lot of those people would talk about the same thing. They'd have this yearning for a time that supposedly didn't exist. When we were this and we were that and we were able to do things and they were considered hysterical. And there was a whole big range of things that you could be labeled hysterical for. One of those things was longing, was longing for a different time and shit. It's really fucking crazy. But I wonder, man. I just was that them sort of doing their first round of autism applications. SOBA, what you call autism. I don't call it autism. I call it SOBA, symptoms of biological attack. But, autism is the foolish word that we've been programmed to say. It's how they can keep themselves. If you're foolish enough to say that your kid got autism from the shot, the government will say, no, listen, vaccines don't cause autism, because they don't. Vaccines do not cause autism. Conspiracy person, conspiracy guy telling you vaccines do not cause autism. You are born autistic. That's something that goes wrong in the gestational, period. You something goes wrong while you're being cooked, and you become autistic. That's why you get autistic savants, right? That's why you get people that are, this doesn't develop, but that overdevelops. Well, that never comes from shots. The people that have the autism that comes from vaccines that they say comes from vaccines, those kids ever do that thing where they become like, somehow they can just suddenly play video, the music or whatever. Those kids are locked into a prison. It's a completely different thing. And there's ranges of it. There's levels to it. But that's something that goes wrong inside. If you're saying it's autism. So if you're saying that your kid and you're insisting that your kid is autistic, they'll just keep saying, well, it happens gestationally. It's something that happens. The government literally has something called the Vaccine Injury Fund. And if you say my child was vaccine injured, then you can at least get help with the incredible financial load that it's going to be. And it's a very well funded account. Like, you can get a lot of money, which you're gonna need it. I'm not saying it's like oh yay, but it helps. But they want you to say autistic so they can say, okay, well then we didn't do it. You have to say it's vaccine injury. You're 100% right. Thank you for opening your eyes about that. My son is a savant, and it's insane to deal with. Exactly what happened to him. Yeah. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. You know, I hate the idea that my kids are vaccinated, because I think they would be better than they are. I think they'd probably do better in school. I think they might not get sick. I think, it was a really big mistake. And we were sort of forced into it, but we were at least like, look, we're not going to do the one dose. And our initial pediatrician, this Asian guy with this huge head, and he was real tall. As soon as we said, hey, can we just get it in the 3 shots? He was like, oh, you're one of those people. No, forget. No, I'm not doing this. And he refused to see us anymore. Simply because we asked if we could get the 3 shots instead of the 1 shot. We didn't want to bombard our child with that much at one time. And my wife had to call and call and call and call. And it was like she had been running out of shit. I think she was on like her last one. And she was finally like, well, I'm going to call this covenant place because they're religious. I'm not, I haven't called them because they're based in religion, but maybe they'll be cool. And they were like, yeah, you can, we'll accommodate you. So then when we went to unfortunately go let our kid fucking do that shit, or put our kid through that shit, we were like, so can we get the 3 dose? And she was like, oh, she was like shitty about it. But she was like, all right, well, you're going to have to take 3 days off of work, and it's going to be a lot more And it's like, don't you get to bill the insurance 3 separate times? It's like, shouldn't you as the doctor's office want us to come 3 times instead of the 1 time? Doesn't it work out to your advantage if we come back there more often? Like, what the fuck? Why would you have an issue with this to begin with? But they didn't have it on them, so we had to wait, because they had to specially order it, because they just didn't keep any of the 3 dose shots in the fucking place. And I refused to. I was there for the first one, and I just refused. I never wanted to do it to begin with. My wife was not there yet, and we had the system telling us that we had to do it, and like, it was crazy. And so I was like, look, I'm just not going to do it. If you really insist on making him go through it, then I guess I what can I do? But so she took our oldest for the other 2, and then our youngest got, I think she says that they didn't get this much. I think our oldest got all 3, and I think our youngest got 2. And after the second, it was like no more. But she says it's less than that. I don't know. I wish it was none. I cannot stress how much I wish it was none. What's up, dude? So clean it up. Go downstairs and get towels and clean it up. Hurry up. Exactly. They don't like when you just go. They don't like when you just go on with what they want you to do. Right. They act like you shouldn't care. And the thing is, our doctor, she was young. She was cool. But she ended up having kids, and she didn't vaccinate them. I remember asking her at one point, so did you get yours vaccinated? And she was like, not yet. Yeah, that's weird. Why not? I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. You know, if you look at our historical record, you're going to see countless historical characters that they've given us from all sorts of periods in history that live to be 80, 90, fucking 100 years old sometimes. And none of them ever got shots. None of them. Not even a little bit. You're told that the average lifespan was 35. Yeah, maybe for the peasants living in shit. But for the people that didn't, that supposedly were able to travel all over the world and shit, those guys, they lived to be nice old people. I think if you get past 80, that's more than you should expect to do. Blame Tylenol. Tylenol is cancer, man. It's so bad. It's such a bad thing. The fucked up part is, look, our human bodies process opium better than we process food. Like, our bodies are made for opiates. We love it. Like, the fact that we have the receptors in our body means our body can produce it naturally. We've just forgotten how. But it like, as far as like what it does to the body, it literally does nothing negative to the body. It fucks you up, and then you get addicted, and then there's all the shit that's in it when it's stepped on and it gets to you. But if you can grow your own poppies and process your own opium, just like if you were to grow and process your own marijuana, if opiates and if opium and marijuana were made completely legal, and we had a society that literally knew how to do the shit, so you could grow a small field of poppies, and you could grow, a few marijuana plants, and every year you would have yourself a harvest. You could keep them. You would have enough medication for, you know, for your year. That would cover so many different things. I would much rather people be addicted to a plant substance, a natural plant substance, than Paxil or Depakote or any of these other fucking crazy psych drugs that they put people on. And then, well, now you have tardive dyskinesia, so now you have to take this too. And what the fuck? When I was in my 20s, I knew a guy up in California. He lived on a weed mountain. And his old dad, was like 80. And he lived up in, what was it, Idaho, or he lived somewhere up there along the Snake River, so wherever the fuck that is. And my buddy and I lived in Northern Cal, and whatever. And his dad, he was in a lot of pain. He was a war vet. He had himself an Asian wife that was 10, 15 years his younger, or whatever. Maybe it was more than that. Second wife, obviously. But because, medications were just so incredibly expensive, they decided to try to make their own. So they grew a bunch of poppies. And in the processing of it, I don't know how they did the processing, but in the processing of it, they screwed something up. And they used corn oil in the process, and they ended up with this big brick. It was like the size of a telephone book. For those of you too old to understand what I'm saying, it was like this thick, and it was like a 12 by 14 foot or inch like square, and it was like this weird sticky, like you had to have it. It wasn't hard. It was just sticky. And if you tried to smoke it, it would like, the outside layer would like burn and then get real hard, and then you couldn't get through to the inside. So it was like really hard to do, and it, you couldn't just put it in your weed and it would burn nice. It didn't work that way. And and it was just, it had a horrible flavor because of the corn oil and shit. And so it was like thought of as this loss. And so me being the dumbass that I was, one day I thought, well, why don't we just try swallowing it? And it was all sticky and gross, so you didn't really want to do that. Like, it would be real difficult to do. So for some stupid reason, I thought, let's put it on a piece of foil and cook it in the oven for a minute till it just gets the hard coating on it. And then you just swallow it like little bits. And I can tell you, there was nothing in the world that fucked me up that much, but was so clean and just wonderful. It was such a wonderful feeling. And it was by far my favorite high ever, and it was consistent. And it didn't require very much. You could just shave off little slivers. Little, like the size of, like, this little bud or something. You'd take that much, and you'd get like 3 or 4 of those, and you'd be fucking high all day, and you'd be way high. So if you only did like one, and you were somebody that was in chronic pain, that one would do you for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I mean, it was so great. And imagine if everybody could do that instead of, because, this old man and his old wife did it. So, he was in, a lot of pain. So, it was so strange that looking back on it now, and I think, just imagine if everybody could just grow a couple of weed plants, small little patch of poppies, process their little brick, and then, shave off a little piece every day. What would be different? Why would it be a bad thing if you shaved off a little piece of your own homemade opium, and even if you didn't have any chronic pains or anything, it just fucking made you feel better? This is a plant substance, right? It's a plant substance. So you're going to try to tell me that there's something wrong with a plant substance? I mean, it's a crazy thing, right? And so to think, like, obviously some people are going to misuse that, but some people are going to misuse everything. And the people that are going to misuse it, there's a lot more going on than just them doing drugs. There's more to them doing drugs than them doing drugs. But you can't tell me that is any worse than somebody that wakes up every day and has to take their Paxil or has to take their psych meds. They're fucking, there's so many different La Bring Ding, Shamulaka, the Sky Rizzy, all that shit. There's so many of these fucking crazy ass pills that, so the way they work is, for the first like 2-3 weeks that you're taking it, especially the first couple times, you're going to feel like you took the brown acid. You're going to feel like shit. It's going to be pretty intense. It might be a little too much. They're just guessing on the dosages and shit. They don't know how your body's going to respond to it. Think about this. If you give somebody the wrong blood, they will die. There are a few different blood types. I don't know them all offhand. But it's significant, like 5 or 6 or some shit. If you give somebody the wrong blood, they'll die. But yet, somehow, all of the medications affect us all the same way. I can take X medication and you can take X, and they're going to affect us the exact. How could you possibly know that? Me at my weight versus you at your weight. How do you know I'm not going to have a higher tolerance to it or a lower tolerance to it? Or, it's such a fucking craps game. But they'll tell you that you have to just get through that first couple weeks until you have enough of it in your system that your body is now regulated. So you're completely addicted to it, is what they're saying. Because they'll all tell you, if you want to quit the shit, you got to wean yourself off. And then, once you finally get to the bottom of it and you finally cut yourself off, you're going to have a couple of weeks worth of really awful withdrawal. It's no different than opiates. It's just opiate is natural. Normal, natural, you can grow it in your backyard. All the other shit is some weird-ass chemical combination that you have no idea where the fuck it comes from. You have no idea. I mean, psych meds are so much. So many of the weird things that happen, the shootings, the this, the that, the blah, blah, blah. The people are all fucking hopped up on goofball psych meds. 100% of the time. Like, it's fucking insane. Do you know that the vast majority of the crime, like, even then, I bet you, I would imagine, I'd be willing to bet, I would put the swallowing a few balls of opium and the, it doesn't take long, but by the time it hits you and then the sustained fucking high that you get from it, I would bet that's better than the rush. Or as good as the rush. I never shot heroin. If I ever find out I'm terminal, this, that, and the other, I'm shooting up. Before I die, I want to know what the fucking hubbub was all about. What inspired so many artists and all that other shit. So many of the people that I aspired to be. I want to know. But I growing up, I literally was in the room with people shooting up. I was driving down the freeway with a guy in the passenger seat, and he had cooked up and was shooting into his fucking neck because he was a 30-year junkie. His name was Dickie, and he shot. His shit was all closed, so he had to shoot in his neck. And he didn't go, he just went, okay, that's good. All right. It wasn't some incredible rush. Not maybe it was to an extent, but like, I guarantee if he was just shaving off little pieces of opium, it would be just as good. It'd be all natural. It wouldn't be, you're not going to OD. You're not gonna, it's not fentanyl, that's for goddamn sure. Which is, it's clear, like, how does fentanyl get into speed? What a terrible fucking business, like, plan. You're selling uppers and you're gonna lace it with the most insane downer possible? What are you hoping to kill your clientele? Or at least piss them off so they never come back to you again? If I'm in the, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to go to Vegas, we're going to go, we're going to go in the night, let's get some Coke and we'll fill up our little thingies and we'll have a night on the town. And I find out there's fucking fentanyl in there and I'm going to be fucking furious. Why would I want downers when I'm trying to do uppers?
Mint chip gelato.
No, that.
It is coffee.
Always is. God damn. I'm good.
Oh, that was rough.
Live near Vancouver. No. They want to be zombies. Well, I mean, there are people that, I mean, there's always going to be those people. Like, just because it's readily available and it's not a crime doesn't mean there's going to be a surge of people out there that are like, well, fuck, the only thing stopping me from doing it is because it was illegal. No. If you're not doing heroin, it's because you're like, look, do you see that? I don't want that shit. But like I say, there, you know, when you compare it to the Paxils and all these other drugs, I would love to try it, right? I would love to see if the person that's on the whatever drug it is. Now, there are chemical imbalances that absolutely need to be adjusted with drugs. And I'm not saying that this is just the cure-all. But I would love to see, especially all the depressed people, the people that are only on medication because of depression issues. If I gave them a little opium ball every day and we said, all right, let's see which one you're cool with, which one feels better, which one makes your life better, I guarantee the opium ball would kick the shit out of the brown acid.
Well, which one can they function day to day with as well, though? There has to be that balance.
No, I mean, again, you could take 2-3 balls of the opium and it's going to knock your dick in the dirt. But I would imagine if you just took the one ball, I never tried that.
It have to be adjusted.
Right.
You know.
Well, but that's what it is with anything. Anything you need to adjust per the person and all that. But that's the thing about a little block of opium that you grew in your backyard. You get to figure that out. What's the big difference between heroin and Suboxone, the alternative? Suboxone is the worst.
All the nasty shit that goes into it?
Yeah. Heroin, at the end of the day, heroin, again, is your body processes heroin better than it does most food. We are made for opiates. Our bodies love them, and they don't do anything negative to us. Once you start getting into the cuts and, all the stuff that gets put into the street shit. Well, yeah, but the addiction is there are definitely severity levels to things. But like if you eat strawberries every day for fucking 2 years, the first couple days that you don't have your strawberries, you're going to be a motherfucker. Your body is going to want that shit. You're going to behave differently, and you wouldn't think you would over some strawberries, but you would. And and I'm saying this as far as like we're saying comparatively. So if you're on the Paxil for depression, or I don't even know the name of it, you're going to get just as sick, if not sicker, going off the fucking Paxil than you would if you took a small little ball of opium every day.
You're not going to sell your jewelry for some strawberries or some fucking Paxil.
You will. No,
absolutely.
Absolutely you will. If you are out of your Paxil and you are going through the fucking psychotic break that a lot of people will go through because they didn't fall off a fucking banister, like, that... Yeah. There are things like there are times when, like for me, I quit smoking cigarettes like I shut something off. And that's not how cigarettes are supposed to work.
I should have had some nasty withdrawals from all that shit.
Right. Same thing. Anne's had a traumatic experience and she was like, nope, not doing it anymore. And that was that.
I didn't take another pill, and they had me on like 8 different ones.
It was fucking nuts. She was a goddamn zombie. I hated it so much.
So did I. Kept changing pills out, kept changing dosages. I kept saying, I weigh 89 pounds. Is this right? Assistant doctor, like, oh, no problem here. Like, really?
Yeah, you die. What do we care?
Right.
Oh, damn, we lost another one. Hey, what? Oh, yeah, I'll take it. Come on in.
It's just...
Your spot to be filled up tomorrow.
Oh, my God. It was ridiculous. And that was that fucking falling off. It was like an instant jar to the brain wake-up call.
Again, we're talking about... I'm not saying that every person out there should be taking a fucking opium ball every day. No. Although, I don't see why you shouldn't. If you want to, if you like that, you should be allowed to.
Well,
If you could grow your own brick, like I tell you about what happened in California, you weren't here for the beginning, but to have the little brick that you can shave your piece off.
that's okay. So here's the thing: if people are educated properly, they can utilize that like they would
That's
use
medicine, yeah.
their Tylenol.
Exactly.
You know, just keep it on hand for temporary pain management.
You understand that every single one of you could go right now into your medicine cabinet and grab your bottle of Tylenol and kill yourself?
Yeah. Well, people don't realize that. That's
Right.
the thing.
Like
They
that-
have not been educated properly.
You know,
And
you know,
that's-
if you drink like 2 gallons of water, you'll kill yourself.
People don't, they need to be educated. That's the biggest problem with it. But, you know, now people with rheumatoid arthritis or, you know, chronic severe
Exactly.
pain, that would be a daily pain management. type
Those
of
people are
situation.
addicted to something already.
Exactly.
Right. So instead of it being the
It's just
the
made in
high
a
level
lab. Yuck.
high level synthetic narcotics that they're taking, or again, I think there's a lot of people on depression medication that don't need to be that if it's just about you want to feel a little better, I would imagine an opium ball every day would probably make you feel pretty good. And if that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. But again, you can't say that an all natural plant substance is worse than some synthetic shit that will do just as. I mean, again,
Well,
your Paxil, coming off a Paxil or coming off of the, especially if you're on a super high dose, that's some fucked up shit.
so here's the other thing. Like 10 years ago, if somebody suffering from severe anxiety, chronic anxiety, PTSD, whatever, said to you, I take magic mushrooms every day for my anxiety, people would think, what the fuck? You're a total fucking hippie stoner, man. Right? Well,
Same thing.
nowadays, it
It
is
doesn't have-
completely normalized. It's even like in one of the cities in our state, Ann Arbor, it's legalized for medicinal use. You could go buy it at the dispensaries. They usually grind it up and put it in capsule form, so you could just take it like a pill. And it's used for daily anxiety. And guess what? I've been doing it for years. It's amazing.
Yeah, but compared that to like, you know, so
It's
Tylenol,
normalized, though, is my point.
right. Tylenol has much opium in it. But then there's all the rest of this shit. The part that'll kill you in Tylenol is not the opium. You wouldn't even, if you took the all those Tylenol, it's not enough opium in it to make you actually feel good. You just get real sick and die. Right? Because the opium part is like 5%. The 95% is just fucking poisonous. What caffeine? And again, why put caffeine in it? Why do they put synthetic caffeine and all of that shit? What? Because it makes it work better. Then it's not very good opium, is it? Acetaminophen. It's synthetic opium. It's just weak, nasty shit. But synthetic has to come from, you know.
They're trying to replicate something that they've already found in nature.
Right, and
Totally.
they just taking like a penny and making $1 worth. You know, they're taking a penny's worth of real opium and through chemical processes and nasty
Cutting it.
Cutting it, right. They turn it into $1 worth of synthetic.
Fucking gross.
It's disgusting. And you could grow the shit in your own backyard.
Pure.
And
yourself.
process it yourself. And the more people that do it, the better the techniques are going to be. More people are going to discover things. We're going to discover the best ways to do. So like I said, that brick that I had, it was gross. It was all slimy and gross. You had to do the process to make it work. People would figure their way around it.
Well, if you're in an apartment or you don't have the time or the green thumb, so that's when you go to the local farmers markets and you support your local people that are doing it and sharing it with others. That's how you help get around the system.
That's true to an extent, but the thing about marijuana and poppies is they're literally the easiest things in the world to grow.
It doesn't matter if you're in an apartment.
Right, but
or you
but I'm
work
saying,
80 hours a week.
you know, if you don't have the green thumb, like you said, she's the apartment, and you're absolutely correct, and she's right about that. But I'm just saying, even
sick.
you might think you're incapable. Literally, you throw poppies out. You throw them out. Hopefully, you can get it to. You throw them out between. There's one more snow if you live in an area with snow. So you want to get them out in like February or whatever. They're legal to grow. You can grow poppies anywhere.
You're just not
They're
allowed to harvest.
right, but the two plants that literally grow everywhere. That all you got to do is throw seeds out and they'll take care of the rest. It's marijuana and poppies. They literally grow everywhere. They're the easiest things in the world to grow. And they're illegal plants because you don't need to,
They didn't find a way to make money off of them.
Right. Well, because they can't charge you for what you grow.
In your backyard, right?
Exactly. What you grow, what you give to your friends or whatever.
Hey, wait, we can't tax that.
Right.
Fuck it, they can't do it.
Exactly. And if they're doing that, we can't tax it, but they're also not buying our products at the same time.
So let's charge them with the crime and get from them that way.
Stop fucking growing your own opium in your backyard and being responsible and all that shit, and get yourself a fucking alcohol habit like you're supposed to, okay?
Right.
Stop by the store, pick up your 12-pack, and, drink your shit. That's okay. Just don't do it and drive. Just don't do it during the day. But as long as you drink at night, you're all good. Drink that fucking swill that's not even beer. It's not even able to be called beer anymore. It's just chemical piss water. It's so nasty.
Again, your local crafters. We got to go back to our little circle, our communities. Support
We're
each
all
other
one huge ass community.
and learn from each other.
True, but like the thing that mentality is still a broken one, because the reality is we're all one fucking huge ass community.
Sure.
So
if everybody reaches out shoulder length and teaches everybody within their circle, and we all come together, like
we can't.
That's
though.
how we do it. We have to affect from out.
But
and that grows, those seeds spread.
Until we address the arrogance aspect of things, nothing changes. Arrogance is the key to the control network. It's so weird because arrogance is the glue that keeps everything together while being the thing that keeps us all apart. Isn't that a weird thing? But it's what it is. At the end of the day, I'm the crazy weirdo. My wife is the crazy weirdo for suggesting that we work together, growing plants to help each other and pass knowledge and be good to each other. Instead of talking about Sky Daddy this, Sky Daddy that, I was born in this invisible lined place, you were born, like, it's just fucking stupid. We're the bad guys, right? We're the bad guys for being like this. And the good guys are the ones that are like, no, it's Sky Daddy's up there. They want you believing in the dumbest shit. And if any of that shit was right, you wouldn't need to force it on anybody. It would already be the way. Like, if Christianity was right, there wouldn't be Islam. Why would anybody choose Islam if Christianity's right? It's documented. It's provable right here. Boom, boom. Jesus farted. We can smell it. See that? Right there. Like, if that was the case, then nobody would be anything else. If any of them were right, then same thing. Muslims, same thing. If Islam was right, we'd all be fucking Muslims. Why wouldn't we? If that was the truth, why wouldn't we all want the truth? Why would we fight over dumb shit? At the end of the day, you can't prove one fucking iota of it. Not one little bit. Never been presented with any proof, never will be. Supposedly there's some proof, but it's locked in the fucking Vatican vaults, the 50 miles worth of shelving that they have down below underground that, you know, that for some reason they just get to keep that shit from us. Like they own it. Why would they own history? Well, doesn't that shit belong to all of us? Isn't that our history?
I thought maybe.
And what
Just wrong.
if you were like the you know, the moral hierarchy, right? What would you possibly hide from the people? Right? Once you get past like, if you won't say, well, it's gross, you know. What are you trying to hide from us if you're the good guys? If this stuff is gonna prove your shit correct, like especially in a time and an age where people are like they don't believe the shit anymore. You're losing numbers left and right. You got to come up with these elaborate schemes and shit. Why, if you have like Jesus's fucking, you know, stopwatch or something like that, why don't you present it to us? If you have any little tiny piece of proof, why don't you just present it and be like, look, here it is. All right. You know, end of the debate. Here you go. It's undeniable. Look at this. People want to talk about the Shroud of Turin, like Jesus died and leaked into a fucking cloth. That's the narrative. You can interpret it all you want. It's an ancient picture. It's a this. No, the narrative is that Jesus died, and as he leaked, it made the image. He died on top of the shroud, and the shroud then took his image. Like it's, you have to be an incredibly fucking desperate moron to believe that shit. And that's what's always, you know, presented, and that's the reality that's avoided. But this is what we need to do. This is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to see. This is what we need to break down. And until we do that shit, we're just spinning tires. Most of the time, we're just talking about what they want us to talk about. And as long as we're not talking about them, they're happy. So I'm fucking exhausted. I didn't believe I would do this long today, even close. But thanks for joining me. I think the the best way you can educate yourself is to look at the links that I provide you in the description. Obviously, the first link is www.the-bilderberg-group.com. It's a link to the music. It's free download. Just when you click download, it'll ask you how much you want to pay. If you click 0, then it's free. If you want to donate, that's cool too, but it's free. And it's music that talks about this shit, and it's music that isn't what they want you to hear, I guess. But the second link is going to be to Hollywoodism, which I might just watch tomorrow. But you should watch it for yourself, because Hollywoodism explains why you think the way that you think. And then after that, when you read Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness, you see why they think the way they think. And how you know, you can have a people that can live off of genocide and supremacy and hatred and just the worst of the worst traits. The metzitzia, like, how do you have a people that do that shit? How can they be such awful people and not think twice about it? And I think the song part 2 is going to explain it a little bit better. But you know, when your people is it, you know, the boys are all sexually assaulted at birth. Well, not at birth, 8 days after birth, in their metzitzia, Brit Milah. But when you have a culture where from a very young age they are told they are chosen, they are special, they are this vessel for all of these adults to be able to get transcendence and redemption for their sins. So they have to use this little body sexually, inserting things. That's just the worst. Read it. Read it for yourself. But you fracture these kids mentally, these kids psychologically. And the only thing that's keeping them together is the idea that they're special. They were chosen for this. And if it wasn't them, it was going to be one of their little brothers or something like that. Which it will be anyway. But they just, right. It's just it's just to make you think one way or another. And then once they grow out of, they age out of preference, and they become adults at 13, they're then forced to rape a child themselves because they're full of all the sins that were put into them. They're nasty, nasty, sin-filled creatures. They now need redemption. They now need transcendence because of all the sins that were put into them. And so they complete the cycle, And then you have these people who then grow up and they say to you, well, did you have a bomb hit your house? Oh, I'm so sorry. Have you experienced racism? Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you being discriminated against because you don't get paid as much as the men? Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, were you systematically raped from the time you can remember as a child until you aged out of it when you became an adult at 13 and then forced to rape another child to make up for your own sins? No. So fuck you. I don't care. Now, does it make sense? Now, can you understand how a people can commit genocide or live off of genocide? You can pull up in a bus and they'll fight over your, they'll be running, fighting over each other to try to claim a house in a neighborhood that was just cleared of the Palestinians that lived there a few days earlier. So there's still food in the fridge and shit like that. But they you gotta claim the house first. If you claim the house and it's yours, you don't want your friend to claim the house. You want the nicest house, right? Could any of you do that? Here, get in the bus. We're gonna pull up to a neighborhood.
Yeah.
We just cleared it. You gotta whatever house you can get to is yours. Their pictures are gonna be all over the house. It's just gonna smell like them.
Tangy banana or blueberry?
I have no idea. Either one. Blueberry's probably better. But think about that. Who could do that? Who could tell people that I'm chosen by God. We can murder people all we want. This is our God-given right. Who thinks that you gotta suck on it? That's part of the ritual. You got to do it. The guy that you hired to do the job, he has to suck on it. He's done it thousands of times.
Okay, so my sister is one of those people that absolutely wants to not believe any of it. Like, is just horrified, can't believe that any of it's true. So I have been slowly giving her information in like teaspoonfuls, knowing that if it strikes a certain chord, she's going to look it up. Well, she has been coming back to me little by little with little things like, I looked that up and that did actually happen. I just can't.
Yeah.
And so
I don't do this.
I know, but sometimes the teaspoonfuls helps people.
I'm not teaspoon
digest
guy.
It.
Fuck that. I'm the guy that you guys give the teaspoons to your friends and then say, all right, you ready? Go watch that guy. I'm the in-between. I'm not going to dumb it down to try to, reach a certain level. No, it has to be. Because at this point, I'm full throttle. I can't not be. I have to keep advancing. If I start dumbing it down, I'm not advancing.
See, I don't think it's dumbing it down. I don't look at it like that. I look at it like being able to teach your audience effectively and reach as many people as you should.
I am. You will get here. You cannot tell the level 9 boss to go back and fight level 1. The best example is video games. If you're the level 1 character and you go to the level 9 boss, what's going to happen? You're going to get slaughtered.
No, but you can teach people how to beat level 1.
Yeah, you can. Part of it is your job. You have to be, I can't pull you.
Some people do need to be pulled.
Well, that's your job.
On their own.
That's your guys' job. You're supposed to get the people here. I'm the final boss. You can't, you guys are you guys are the guys going to get the people here. But and I'm not even the final boss. There's somebody out there that knows more than I do. Fuck, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, you guys are the intermediaries. You guys got to help. And that's what this whole thing is. And like I say again, you can think about it all you want to. You can not like what I'm saying all you want to. But the reality is, I've just explained to you how you can have a people that can do a metzitzia, that will attack somebody for saying it's wrong, and that will live off of genocide while claiming they're the victims. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. They're humans. They should give a shit about the suffering of others. Come on. If I hate my neighbor, but I come home from somewhere and it's raining and shitty out, and I see the kid sitting there banging on the door, and then he just sits on the ground and he's crying, and obviously there's no cars there, the lights are off, so no one's home, but I'm not going to be like, well, I hate your father, so I'm not going to help you. I'm going to be like, hey, kid, you need some help? Hey, we don't want to see the suffering of others. What are you, fucking nuts? The doofus neighbor I could watch him fall down outside. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to call the cop. I'm going to call the ambulance here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to start calling now. I might wait a minute, But, it's just like any of the other shit, man. I'm not going to, when you want to start saying whatever you say, I'm going to always say, like, tell me about the good NAMBLA member. Tell me what somebody could tell you that would justify their NAMBLA association. And you're going to say you can't. I've sharpened this sword so many times that the things that I say are well crafted and they're meant to do what they do. I want to say things in a way that you're going to look like a piece of shit if you disagree with me. Again, justify a NAMBLA association. I'd love to hear it. And when you can't, then I'm going to say, okay, well, Judaism is so much worse. So tell me why that's okay then? Because of some fucking goofy fairy tale they made up that can't be proven and no evidence for anywhere and blah blah blah. Like, come on, let's do it. We're at the final, but we're on the final stage. Let's do it. Bring your very best weapons. Bring anything you can. Right? I'm never gonna tell somebody like, hey, you can't say that. Hey, that's off limits. Hey, It doesn't smell very good. I don't think I want to hit it. Yeah, no, it tastes like fish.
It's not very good.
Tastes like.
The banana tastes good.
Tastes like.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Like a candle.
This one's pretty yucky. I'm gonna save this for last.
Anyway, I already said I was done, but now I'm really done. So, go check out the receipts in the description. Receipt after receipt after receipt, and I challenge you to go look at the path I've laid out. Look at the breadcrumbs. Every single thing I've posted that isn't my actual art, my actual not hidden. It's my band bullshit. Like that stuff is obviously mine, but everything else is the official narrative. It's the narrative you're supposed to know. Wikipedia might not be 100% true, but it's 100% the truth that Israel wants you to know. And there's a link to prove it in the description when you look up the Naphtali Bennett video. when you look up Team Jorge, when you look up the Havara Agreement, when you look up auto emancipation, like these things are, it's not mine. It's just the truth. You cannot like it all fucking day if that's what you want. But until you can tell me what part's wrong, I'm going to keep thinking I'm right. So, you have yourself a wonderful day. And you pedophiles, well, oh yeah, don't forget to like, share, and sub too if you're watching. Like, share, and sub. Come on. Pedophiles, kill yourself. Wait for it. All right.